Brother Sheng. Shi Qiong saw the original squad split up into two and looked worriedly at Yulishing. Theoretically, they should be joining up with the two immortal emperors. Brother Sheng. Shi Qiong saw the original squad split up into two and looked worriedly at Yulishing. Theoretically, they should be joining up with the two immortal emperors. Sister Qiong, let's join Brother Yi. This is our last time going in. If there's still no result, we won't be coming back here again. Yulishing soon made a decision. After knowing Yi Mo wasn't a mortal emperor yet, he called Yi Mo Brother Yi. Brother Sheng, isn't this too risky? We're offending people and putting ourselves into danger. Shi Qiong's sound transmissioned to Yulishing. She was worried about Yi Mo's power. Yi Mo wasn't a mortal emperor yet. Even if his domain was strong against murderous qi, he was the only one. Yulishing didn't answer. He trusted she would understand him. Yi Mo could drink an entire kettle in one go. How could he be ordinary? Such person would have greater potential. Plus, even if Yi Mo joined the two immortal emperors, they might not be able to reach the lightning kill God Palace. However, he was planning to leave here and gamble for one last time. He had decided that if they couldn't go forward in the river, they would leave. At the same time, he felt that Yi Mo was more trustworthy than the old woman and scrawny old man. Even if they couldn't go to the palace, it would be making a friend. As for the immortal monarchs teaming up with the old woman and scrawny old man, they probably just wanted to use the immortal emperor domain to find wine kill stones in the river. Yi Mo looked at Yulishing with new light. Despite them splitting off with a mortal emperor, he still didn't change his mind and teamed up with him. The old woman heard this and sneered. She didn't care if Yulishing joined them or not, but she cared about the map he had. Now the map was on Yi Mo. She knew that without Yi Mo, it was impossible for them to get into the river. As for teaming up, both she and the old man knew it was for Yi Mo's items. This immortal friend, can you sell a copy of the map to me? Little Mud, immortal friend, smiled to Yulishing. Yulishing said with trouble, Qianbei, I already gave the map to Yi Qianbei. Very well, very well. The old man sneered. How could he not understand what Yulishing meant? Since they weren't the same team, of course he couldn't give the map to him. Then he said to Yi Mo, immortal friend Yi, can you sell me a copy of the map? Sure, but I need a recipe of the wine. Yi Mo said. Clearly, this old man had some connections to Dunyang. As soon as Yi Mo said this, the old man narrowed his eyes. The recipe is Dunyang's. How could I have it? But I can give you other things like immortal pills or wine kill stone. No, Yi Mo said, and then said to the couple, let's go. Seeing Yi Mo leave, the two quickly followed. They offended everyone here. If they stayed, it wouldn't be good. How long have you two been here? Seeing the two follow, Yi Mo asked. The main reason we came to the river is to find something. Body refinement is just a bonus, but we didn't expect that we didn't find what we wanted, but our body refinement reached immortal spirit body, tertiary stage. Yulishing laughed bitterly. He didn't say what he was looking for. Yi Mo didn't ask, but he could guess it was in the palace. With your cultivation level, where can you get to in the river? Yi Mo asked. Yulishing thought and said, if it's just us two, we can only enter 100 meters into the river. If it's teaming up with others and our domains stacked, we can go deeper, but not to the bottom. As for the lightning kill god palace, we can't even get close unless the tide comes. But that takes too long, we can't afford to wait. After we got the map, we didn't dare to team up with others. We're deciding to leave here and seeing brother. Yes, straightforward, I wanted to gamble. Yi Mo laughed. But you didn't expect me to not team up with that old woman, right? Yi Mo saw in the jade slip Dunyang gave him that the tide came every 100,000 years. Who would wait here? Yulishing laughed awkwardly. Yes, if Brother Yi teamed up with the two immortal Emperor Qianbais, we might really be able to reach the palace. He was implying that they wouldn't be able to reach the palace alone. Yi Mo said in contempt, If I teamed up with them, you too would be suffering the most, not me. Do you think in times of danger that old women would care about you? They might not even care about me. I would definitely not team up with such people. Plus, I don't need to team up with them. Is there a lot of immortal emperors here? Yi Mo saw Yu Lishing realizing that too. Yu Lishing quickly answered, there's not a lot of immortal emperors, but every period of time there would be immortal emperors coming. There's only 6 who always stay here. The scrawny old man is one of them. Kai Lu also comes frequently. There's quite some immortal monarchs and immortal kings. Most immortal monarchs are here for body refinement. Meanwhile, some immortal kings can't even get close to the river. Yi Mo nodded. Tell me about the river. It's my first time here. Has anyone crossed the river? The water in the river contains murderous qi that would invade the sea of consciousness like blades. It's very painful. There are also immortal spirit beasts in the river called abyssal dark shark. This fish is very ferocious and savage. It loves ambushing body refinement cultivators. Yu Lishing said with fear. Clearly he encountered one before. As they spoke, Yi Mo saw the vast river and the extremely sharp murderous qi. It was much murderous than at the Dunyang Hotel. However, it didn't really affect him. Seeing Yi Mo have it so easy, Yu Lishing and Shi Qiong breathed easy. Yi Mo waved his hand and Shadowless appeared before them. Seeing the golden-winged Shadowless, the two retreated a few steps. Yi Mo quickly said, Don't worry, this is my immortal pet. Such a cool immortal spirit beast. It's like a dragon horse. Yu Lishing praised. Shadowless wanted to ask Yi Mo if here was the Qingwei Abyssal River, but hearing Yu Lishing praise him, he immediately gloated. You have keen eyes. Dragon horse is nothing. To me, it's just a matter of a bite. Yu Lishing didn't mind that Shadowless could speak, but he was shocked that Shadowless didn't fear the murderous qi here. Seeing Yu Lishing want to ask what Shadowless was, Yi Mo quickly asked first. Brother Yu, do you know who that Xiao Tu is? Yi Mo felt this Xiao Tu was strange. He felt very ancient, a type of ancient that he only felt from Kaimi before. This Xiao Tu seemed even more ancient, that Kaimi. I don't know who he is, I just know he's very powerful. Even though there's 3 tables in the shop, the 3rd table is his no matter how many people there are. No one dares to use his table. But usually he doesn't attack others if they don't offend him. Yu Lishing looked worriedly at Yi Mo. Brother, you probably offended him today, so after coming out, I suggest, brother, you don't go back to Dunyang Hotel. How do you know he won't attack me here? Yi Mo asked. Shi Qiong suddenly added, One spirit sense can't scan out more than 100 meters in here. When we came out, we left our original tracks. They wouldn't be able to find us. Shi Qiong suddenly added, One spirit sense can't scan out more than 100 meters in here. When we came out, we left our original tracks. They wouldn't be able to find us. So that was it. Yi Mo scanned his spirit sense out. His spirit sense had domain, but could only scan 1,000-meter radius. Brother Yu, let's go down from here. Yi Mo looked at the jade slip and said, Brother Yi, you're saying to go in from here? Yu Lishing saw Yi Mo stand by the river and asked in shock. If Yi Mo really was going down from here, then he would have to leave according to his original plan. Yi Mo smiled. Of course not. I made a boat to cross the river. Then, Yi Mo took out a level 8 immortal artifact and threw it on the river. Forging level 8 immortal artifact was shocking enough, but Yu Lishing didn't look at the magic artifact. He stared at Yi Mo with astonishment. Brother Yi, you said you want to cross the Qingwei Abyssal River. Going to the palace is just on the way. My main purpose is to cross the river. By the way, do you know what's on the opposite side of the river? Yi Mo said. Yu Lishing just realized that he didn't hear wrong. Yi Mo was really trying to cross the river. He said seriously, Brother Yi, the closer you are to the center of the river, the heavier the murderous chi is. One mistake, and you would be ground to mince. I once saw an immortal emperor, tertiary stage, who was an immortal god body, primary stage, never come out after entering the river. Perhaps he crossed the river. Yi Emo smiled. The murderous chi here was strong, but it didn't concern him. He had stayed in that lethal force dimension in the void for so long. He was used to such environment. Plus, his spirit sense domain had a strong effect dealing with the murderous chi. Seeing Yi Emo being stubborn, Shi Qiong didn't want Yu Lishing to say more, so she said, Brother Sheng, brother, you probably knows what he's doing. If there really is danger in the river, we can retreat. Yu Lishing knew what she meant, of course, and nodded. In that case, let's do it. It's said that the other side of the river is an icy world. The ice is so cold that it can freeze one's soul and spirit sense. Even if, brother, ye can cross the river, it's best you don't go there. Freeze soul and spirit sense? Yi Emo had never heard of such terrifying cold. I've only just heard about it. We've been here for a few centuries and have heard all sorts of strange things. Yu Lishing said in awkwardness, Let's go on the ship. I'm going to drive. Shadowless got on. Seeing Yi Emo and Shadowless not fear the murderous chi at all, the two couldn't help admire Yi Emo and his pet. Compared to that, Yi Emo being an immortal forgery Grand Master wasn't so amazing anymore. After going in, Yi Emo's spirit sense domain and immortal monarch domain stacked together and expanded out. At the same time, he fused his understanding of killing force with what he learned from the blue wine. In order to find their common point, Yi Emo smashed his killing force with the murderous chi from outside. An extremely terrifying yet violent killing intent rush into Yi Emo's sea of consciousness. Yi Emo spat a mouthful of blood and immediately sat on the deck while saying to Shadowless, head to the palace. Then he stopped talking. After the two got on, they didn't feel that murderous chi at all. This made them respect Yi Emo. Yi Emo's domain was this powerful that they couldn't feel a sliver of murderous chi. This was something they had never seen before. But before they could thank him, Yi Emo spat a mouthful of blood. The two were stunned. They had only left the bank about 50 meters. Even they could survive this level of murderous chi as long as there were no sharks. But now, Yi Emo just spat a mouthful of blood. How could they go to the lightning, kill, God Palace now? They didn't know that the reason Yi Emo spat blood was because his spirit sense charged out of his domain and went out a few thousand meters twisting with large amounts of murderous chi. At the same time, he felt the murderous chi of that powerful being who created the river. Now, Yi Emo completely fused himself into this murderous chi. As his spirit sense domain extended outside of his domain, he had a more clear feeling of this murderous chi. That was the lethal force of his god art. That's right, when killing intent and killing chi mixed together, it would force killing force. He learned killing force very early on, but never had he had such a direct and clear feeling like today. He clearly grasped that powerful being's killing force. Under his permission, waves of murderous chi flowed into Yi Emo's sea of consciousness and ravaged his sea of consciousness. The evil chi was burned to nothing by the heaven flame, while the killing intent and killing chi was fused into Yi Emo's own god art. At the same time, his sea of consciousness began perfecting. His spirit sense domain was clearer, and he was practicing god art and spirit sense attacks in his sea of consciousness. Yi Emo's eyes were tight shut, but he was overjoyed. He knew what was going on. His spirit, will 9 transformations, reached level 4. Never had he feel spirit, will 9 transformations, this clearly. What's going on? Yu Lishing saw that Yi Emo controlled the ship and left the river more than 1,000 meters, but they were completely fine. As soon as Yu Lishing said this, a dark shadow charged into Yi Emo's domain. Abyss dark shark. Shi Qiong called out in shock. The darker their color, the scarier they were. Even Shadowless was shocked by the speed of this shark. Nor did Shadowless expect it could break into Boss's domain. Before he could eat this shark, a purple ray swept over. Splat! The shark fell onto the deck bleeding. Yi Emo got up and Su was carried on his back. The instant he learned his new killing force, his domain shrunk and this shark got in. His new move carried his newly learned killing force and struck out. It instantly locked onto the shark and killed it in one strike. Brother Yi. Yu Lishing could tell now that Yi Emo had new learnings for his god art. Yi Emo smiled satisfyingly. This powerful being destroyed the immortal realm, but it's not completely bad. This killing force is unheard of. Destroyed the immortal realm? Yu Lishing asked. I'll tell you when I have time. I need to cultivate my god art. Then Yi Emo raised Su. Countless murderous chi gathered over, but moments later, the murderous chi disappeared. Yi Emo attacked with Su faster and faster, and the nearby evil chi was getting dimmer and dimmer. The killing intent and killing chi seemed to have been sucked away by Yi Emo. By the time the two reacted, they felt Yi Emo take back his domain. The nearby murderous chi were very faint. They didn't feel anything uncomfortable at all. Even an ordinary immortal king could defend against the murderous chi, now much less them. Yu Lishing and his wife glanced at each other. Their eyes were covered in shock. They didn't even dare to imagine Yi Emo could do this. Yu Lishing was certain that the old woman's team might not have it as easy as them. No wonder Yi Emo didn't want to join up with them. He didn't need to join up with anyone. He probably took them because he reminded him and gave him the map. By the riverside, a middle-aged immortal monarch with a face covered in dark spots stared at the river in shock. He suddenly found this passage with extremely weak, murderous chi. Even an immortal king can go in. Did something occur at the river, or was there another tide? By the riverside, a middle-aged immortal monarch with a face covered in dark spots stared at the river in shock. He suddenly found this passage with extremely weak, murderous chi. Even an immortal king can go in. Did something occur at the river, or was there another tide? He soon took out a ship and threw it onto the river. Going forward a few hundred meters, he realized that what he saw was real. As long as he followed this passage, the murderous chi would be extremely weak. Realizing this, he suppressed the excitement in his heart and sped up. His ship soon disappeared. What's going on? Why did I see Gusu, immortal monarch, go into the river on a boat alone? Did I see wrong? The white-haired guy Xiangqing stared at the river in shock. There were a few people next to him. Some came from the Dunyang Hotel, some joined halfway. You didn't see wrong, there's a tunnel here. The murderous chi is extremely thin. Gusu left from this tunnel. The scrawny old man frowned at the tunnel. The old man and the woman glanced at each other. There would be tides on the river every 100,000 years. This would result in regions of weak, murderous chi. Tunnels like this would form, and only then could one get in the Lightning Kill Palace easily. Otherwise, more than 10 immortal emperors would have to join up to go in. Even with that, there would have to be immortal god body cultivators. But this wasn't at that time. How could there be such a tunnel? The scrawny old man and the old woman knew why they came here. They didn't come for the palace. If they could, they would have long gone. They came for Yi Emo. Yi Emo could easily take out an extreme-grade immortal range. An emperor would blue fruit. This meant that he had a lot of good things on him. Of course, if Yi Emo didn't dare to go into the river, they would still follow him. Unless he has a treasure that can split the murderous chi. The old woman's spirit sense scanned the tunnel and frowned. The old man sneered. Since there's a tunnel here and any immortal king can go through it, there's no need to team up. Then the old man released an immortal ship and soon disappeared on it. Seeing this, the old woman didn't waste time too. She brought her disciple and disappeared in the tunnel. The rest of the people all released their immortal ships and went into the tunnel. The three had stopped now. They were at the center of the river. A whirlpool appeared before them. The map pointed to this whirlpool. This whirlpool was very strange. There was not a drop of water inside. The water of the river seemed to have went around the whirlpool. This whirlpool was like a well in a river. It was very eerie. It's probably here, Yu Lishing said. Let's jump in together. Yi Mo's spirit sense scanned a sliver of lightning source murderous chi. Yi Mo didn't need to absorb these murderous chi anymore. He just needed to find a place to settle and then fuse the killing force into his god art. His Tao wasn't the Tao of carnage, so he didn't need to keep devouring murderous chi here. He just needed to understand the killing force inside. Yi Mo jumped down first. To prevent the couple from being affected by the murderous chi, he devoured the murderous chi here. In the tunnel, Yi Mo's spirit sense saw a big palace. Moments later, the three and shadowless lad Ned in this palace, with lightning flickering everywhere. There was less murderous chi in here. The palace was huge, and there was spirit sense restriction. Yi Mo's spirit sense couldn't even see what the border of the palace was. Thank you, Brother Yi. Without you, we would never be able to make it here. This is the outer palace. Yu Lishing bowed to Yi Mo, thanking him from the bottom of his heart. Yi Mo didn't mind and said, "Without your map, I wouldn't be able to find here. We're collaborating. I need to go in alone to find something. I believe you guys are doing the same. When we leave, you guys can leave with me." Yu Lishing bowed. "Brother Yi, we already troubled you enough. Even for this well, if you didn't refine the murderous chi, we wouldn't be able to go in. We didn't put in any effort on the way. If we still need to trouble you to go out, then we would be too useless. We have transmission space rune. We can leave at any time." Shi Qiong saluted with here fists and said, "Yes, Brother Yi, so let's split off here. We're leaving the Abyssal River after this palace too." "Oh no." Yi Mo suddenly thought of something. "What's wrong?" Yu Lishing looked at Yi Mo with confusion. Yi Mo patted his head. "I've been devouring murderous chi on the way and forgot that it would form a tunnel for some time. This is pretty much telling people how we got here, and we paved the path for them for free." Yi Mo was in a state of enlightenment as he learned his god art. He didn't think of this. Then Yi Mo stopped Yu Lishing from talking. "It's pointless, people are already here. We don't have time to block that tunnel." As soon as Yi Mo said this, a middle-aged man, dark spots on his face, landed not far from them. "Gu Su, Immortal Monarch?" Yu Lishing recognized this person. "So you two got here first. It seems you got some nice immortal artifact." The middle-aged man recognized the couple. As for Yi Mo, he ignored him. Shadowless looked extraordinary, but he didn't care. Yu Lishing's face sunk. Although their cultivation level was weaker than Gu Su, Immortal Monarch, they weren't scared of him. "Boss, who is this kid? Should I eat him in one gulp?" Shadowless bared his teeth towards Gu Su, Immortal Monarch. "Haha, nice pet. It wants to eat an Immortal Monarch in one go. No wonder you don't want to team up with us. You can come here alone." A sharp voice sounded. It was that old woman. As soon as she said this, the scrawny old man landed first in the palace. The old woman followed, and another 9 figures landed. "Your immortal pet is quite nice." The old man stared at Shadowless and laughed. He was shocked about who Yi Mo was. How did he have so many good things? "Qian Bei." Yu Lishing greeted them. Yi Mo could ignore the two, but they couldn't. "Yi Mo, you really have a lot of good things." The old woman laughed bleakly while staring at Shadowless for a long while. "Brother Yi." Yu Lishing was a bit worried. He didn't know Yi Mo's cultivation level, but that old woman was an immortal emperor. "Brother Yi." Yu Lishing was a bit worried. He didn't know Yi Mo's cultivation level, but that old woman was an immortal emperor. Seeing Yu Lishing worry, Yi Mo immediately said, "Brother Yu, you guys go first. Don't worry about me. By the way, my sect is Gong Hua Heavens Mo, you immortal sect. You can visit my sect when you're free." Yu Lishing was dazed. How could Yi Mo say that? Even if he was going to say this, it should be via sound transmission. Why would Yi Mo expose who he was? Even if Yi Mo ran away today, they could find his sect. But he couldn't really point out Yi Mo's fault and could only salute it with his fists. If there's a chance to, we'll definitely come visit. Goodbye. Then the two dashed into the palace. Yi Mo wasn't scared, of course. He didn't need to hide his sect. People from everywhere already knew. These people just hadn't gone out yet and thus didn't know. Seeing Yi Mo tell them his sect name without hesitation, the scrawny old man and the old woman frowned. Yi Mo didn't seem to be an idiot. Why did he say something this stupid? Everyone go to your own things. The scrawny old man didn't expect Yi Mo didn't even hide who he was. He was more surprised that Yi Mo came from a low heaven domain sect. If that was the case, things would be much easier. Many people wanted to go, but these two immortal emperors hadn't spoken yet. Now that the scrawny old man said this, they all saluted with their fists and left. Soon, only the scrawny old man, the old woman, and Yi Mo remained. Yi Mo, your immortal pet is really good. It paved the way when you came, right? I'm always staying near the river. I really lack a pet like this. Name a price, I'll have him. Kai, Lu couldn't be bothered pretending. You can't afford it. Yi Mo scorned. A mere immortal emperor middle stage dared to threaten him. Since the emperor can't afford it, then I won't buy it. After taking the pet, I can't even be bothered looking at the other things. The old woman's tone turned tough, and a jade staff appeared before her head. The scrawny old man laughed, and actually took a step back. Yi Mo's pet was good, but he understood the old woman's words. She only wanted the pet, and the rest of the things were his. Seeing Yi Mo not even move after she released her magic artifact, the old woman was completely furious. A mere body refinement cultivator dared to take her this lightly. Was he the only body refinement cultivator in this world? In her fury, the jade staff swept up a green veil that completely enveloped Yi Mo. At the same time, her immortal emperor domain was extended. She didn't plan to kill Yi Mo immediately. She had planned to teach this guy a lesson first. The violent green color squeezed Yi Mo like spilling mercury. If Yi Mo was really an immortal king, he would be squeezed into pieces by this domain. Shadowless opened his mouth and didn't even devour the domain. To him, this old woman was so weak that he didn't need to help. At the same time, Yi Mo's domain expanded. Cracking sounds appeared and the old woman's face changed. She felt her domain cracking under Yi Mo's domain. Staff! The old woman felt Yi Mo's immortal essence even more powerful than hers, and her face changed. Her staff turned into a green color that was filled with dead chi. When Yi Mo released Zisu, Shadowless couldn't resist biting. With a crack, the old woman's immortal emperor domain instantly crippled and cracked open. A purple ray swept all the nearby killing force and hacked open her green death chi. Rumble Zisu sword ray clashed with her staff, easily tearing open the green rays. When the fierce killing force bound the old woman, she completely realized that she was nothing to Yi Mo. No wonder Yi Mo didn't consider her a threat. With his power, how could she even be a threat to him? Splurge the purple sword, Ray drew a gash on the old woman. Devour domain. How could the old man not realize that he saw wrong? This Yi Mo could easily kill an immortal emperor middle stage. In that case, even he was no match for him. Not only that, his pet could devour immortal emperor domains. When he saw Yi Mo's god art clearly, the old man smashed out a red mist. At the same time, his scrawny bold grew tall and bulky. The red mist instantly went into Yi Mo's domain, forming red ripples and blocking the purple ray. Crack! The red mist instantly went into Yi Mo's domain, forming a wall of red ripples blocking before Yi Mo's purple ray. Crack, crack! Yi Mo's crevice god art carried space lethal force and smashed on the red ripple wall. The next moment, the wall was filled with cracks and the purple rays ended. unable to pursue the old woman. Light, cracking sounds also came from the ground. The extremely hard, lightning, kill-god palace floor had small cracks. The old woman picked up her broken arm and connected it with a pale face. The young girl she brought had a purple face. She had never seen her master completely lose in one move and lose an arm. If the old man didn't help, her master would be in a worse position. The red mist wall magic artifact had disappeared. Clearly the scrawny old man put it away, but his tree-skin face was full of shock. No wonder you're so cocky. You're already immortal emperor, tertiary stage. Yi Emo felt the old man's power as soon as he fought. The scrawny old man was even more shocked and saluted with his fists to Yi Emo seriously. Good eyes, immortal friend. Good god art. My god art is ordinary. I've cultivated for too short a time, but your god art is quite amazing. You probably cultivated it countless times. Amazing. Yi Emo raised his thumb towards the old man. The scrawny old man was even more shocked. Did this mean that Yi Emo could see his origin? Yi Emo ignored the scrawny old man and walked towards the old woman, carrying Zisu. You still haven't taken my immortal pet yet. Why are you leaving? I'm blind. I'm willing to compensate for any losses. How could the old woman not know that if she kept fighting, she would die? She might be able to use a space transmission rune, but if she left, her disciple would be dead for certain. No wonder Yi Emo wasn't scared to have his origin known. With his dominance, who would dare to look for trouble with him? She began to doubt whether the scrawny old man saw wrong. Yi Emo had such powerful immortal essence and spirit sense. How could he not be an immortal emperor? She knew she hadn't used her real god art yet, but seeing how relaxed Yi Emo was, she knew that even if she used her trump card, she would be no match. The scrawny old man landed next to the old woman and saluted with his fists. Immortal friendy, I saw wrong. Please have mercy. Martial sister Kai Lu and I are willing to compensate for your losses. The old woman knew what the scrawny old man meant. If they joined up, they could defend against Yi Emo, but if they separated, they had no right to talk to Yi Emo. Yi Emo laughed. Do you have something that I would want? If not, then move to the side. I will deal with you later. I have Dunyang's wine recipe. If you're willing, I can give it to you. The old man returned to his scrawny look. You're with that Dunyang. Yi Emo's tone was contemptuous. This guy didn't admit it before, but now he admitted it himself. The scrawny old man didn't explain, and just took out a jade slip and threw it to Yi Emo. Yi Emo's spirit sense scanned it. It was indeed the recipe for the wine. There were all sorts of wines inside, including Dunyang's wine. The scrawny old man didn't explain, and just took out a jade slip and threw it to Yi Emo. Yi Emo's spirit sense scanned it. It was indeed the recipe for the wine. There were all sorts of wines inside, including Dunyang's wine. It seems you're very good at making wine. Yi Emo put away the jade slip while his killing intent slowly dissipated. His tone was scornful. You have a share of Dunyang's hotel. The old woman looked at the scrawny old man in surprise. Yi Emo glanced at the old woman. Little Mud has given the road toll. Where's yours? I don't see it. The scrawny old man got angry. Yi Emo, I gave you the recipe for the wine and didn't ask for the emperor with blue fruit. What else do you want? I was just showing some respect to you on behalf of the both of us. Since when did it become road toll? He was regretting to the extreme now. He should have used the recipe to trade the emperor with blue fruit. Now he gave the recipe but didn't get the fruit. I opened the path into the palace. You guys came in without any effort. Don't you need to pay a road toll? You guys come in ungratefully and try to rob my immortal pet? Do you think I'm easy to abuse because my cultivation level is low? Yi Emo asked coldly. What do you want? The old woman stared at Yi Emo. She knew that if she pissed Yi Emo off, Yi Emo would really kill her. Even if she abandoned her disciple, she only had a 50% chance of running away. Level 9 immortal pills and level 9 immortal artifacts are trash to me. I don't even care about level 9 immortal spirit herbs. What can you give me? Yi Mo asked. The old woman and the scrawny old man's faces changed. Level 9 immortal things were trash to Yi Mo. What did he want? Yi Mo really didn't intend to get anything from the old woman. He said these things to see if the old woman knew some specific secrets about the palace. Yi Mo didn't believe she had no secrets when she was the one who proposed to the team to come here. Seeing the old woman with a sunken face, Yi Mo wanted to remind her when she suddenly took out an arrow from her storage ring and threw it at Yi Mo. This arrow is from the golden bow of immortal extermination. It's not something ordinary level 9 immortal spirit items can compare with. If you're still not satisfied, then even if I die, I will fight you. Yi Mo grabbed the arrow. When he took it, he felt it was exactly the same as the first arrow. He almost couldn't contain his excitement. Yi Mo didn't expect that before he even started looking, he got the second arrow. This is not bad, I'll take it. Yi Mo forced down his excitement as he played with the arrow calmly. Seeing Yi Mo take her thing, the old woman breathed easy. As she used her immortal essence, the broken arm was connected to her. Seeing that you're so genuine, I'll tell you something. Yi Mo looked at the old woman and suddenly smiled. What? The old woman looked at Yi Mo warily. This is my guess. Little Mud stayed at the Qingwei Abyssal River all these years, probably to recover his cultivation level. Of course, he's relying on the murderous qi and Dunyang wine. Perhaps he made the Dunyang wine. Yi Mo scanned the scrawny old man and said. The scrawny old man sneered and was about to leave. Yi Mo said calmly, I heard many years ago someone used a broken heaven domain and smashed a divine emperor to death. I wonder if that divine emperor is really dead or just faking it. Who the hell are you? The scrawny old man suddenly turned around and stared at Yi Mo coldly. If he was threatened by Yi Mo, he would have released his magic artifact and killed Yi Mo already. He knew that if he fought with Yi Mo, he would lose a lot of power even if he didn't lose. The current him couldn't afford that. I've already said who I am. I'm MOU Immortal Sect leader. So what? The old man only used one move, but Yi Mo already recognized him. His ancient feeling was very similar to Kaimi. That red rippled wall formed so casually. Yi Mo had never seen someone use a god art with that ease. Only divine emperors and some top grand emperors would be able to do that. The old man's chi made Yi Mo realize that he was definitely once a divine emperor. He stayed at the river to use murderous chi to recover his power. But another reason was that his cultivation level fell and he could no longer hide his divine emperor chi. He had to use the murderous chi here to hide it. Plus, the scrawny old man gave him the recipe. How could Yi Mo not know? A divine emperor called Little Mud. Yi Mo thought of that Chu Qin divine emperor who was smashed to death. Tian, the Chen character in Chinese is made up of the characters for Little and Mud. Seeing that Yi Mo didn't even care about his threats, the scrawny old man's force sagged down. You're really a divine emperor? The old woman asked in shock. The scrawny old man sighed dejectedly. Yes, I'm Chu Qin, but now I'm no longer a divine emperor. Yi Mo, who told you I was smashed to death by another heaven domain? Yi Mo had some interest in this Chu Qin divine emperor, but he didn't have time to waste now. He needed to go find the bone arrows and spirit control, the one the old woman gave him. I heard it from an elder in my sect. Yi Mo didn't lie. Kaimi was indeed an elder now. Impossible! How can an elder from your low heaven domain know how I disappeared? Chu Chan rebuked in contempt. Yi Mo laughed. That elder of mine is called Kaimi. I heard he used to be a divine emperor too. Kaimi? He's not dead? Chu Chin said in shock. Then he immediately said, How can Kaimi join your sect? Because he sees potential in my sect, so he joined. Kaimi is now an immortal emperor elder of MOU Immortal Sect. Chu Chin opened his mouth and eventually said nothing. He actually believed Yi Mo a little. Yi Mo definitely wasn't old, and his cultivation level seemed Immortal Monarch Tertiary Stage. But his battle power is no weaker than Immortal Emperor Tertiary Stage. This was unheard of. If there was a prodigal Immortal King Tertiary Stage peak who could kill an Immortal Monarch Middle Stage, Chu Chin Divine Emperor would believe it a little, but the difference between Immortal Monarch and Immortal Emperor was like heaven and earth. An Immortal Emperor Primary Stage could easily kill a few Immortal Monarch Tertiary Stages. Yi Mo was a mere Immortal Monarch, but he could kill Immortal Emperor Middle Stage. Even with the help of his pet, this was absurd. Chu Chin, I heard you say you can find some life corners in here. It seems you're quite familiar with this place. Can you sell me a jade slip? Yi Mo smiled and wanted to pat Chu Chen's shoulders. Chu Chen Divine Emperor dodged and said no. Then he ignored Yi Mo and left like the other immortal monarchs. Seeing this old woman about to go, Yi Mo suddenly said, "Where did you get that bone arrow? Is it from the palace?" "No. A few thousand years ago, an immortal emperor escaped from the river. He was heavily injured. I saved him, and he repaid me with this," the old woman said, and looked vigilantly at Yi Mo. Yi Mo doubted her words. He suspected she killed that guy and robbed his things, but regardless, Yi Mo wasn't interested. Seeing Yi Mo stop bothering her, she saluted with her fists to Yi Mo and took her disciple and disappeared. Yi Mo soon left. 15 minutes later, he found a corner to set up a stealth formation and took out the time formation disc as he went in. He had to spirit control this bone arrow first. Yi Mo didn't choose to go into the golden page world in here. With 2 bone arrows, even if he encountered a top-level master, he would have more confidence. Yi Mo's spirit controlled the bone arrows once. The first time it took him nearly 3 years to refine the 48 restrictions. But this was the second time, and he was familiar with the restrictions. According to what Yi Mo thought, he only needed less than 1 month to spirit control it. Yi Mo's spirit controlled the bone arrows once. The first time it took him nearly 3 years to refine the 48 restrictions. But this was the second time, and he was familiar with the restrictions. According to what Yi Mo thought, he only needed less than 1 month to spirit control it. 1 month in the time formation disc was less than half a day outside. It didn't affect him finding things in the palace at all. But the time formation disc ran for a day, and Yi Mo only spirit controlled to the 13th restriction. Yi Mo put away the time formation disc in disappointment. He didn't expect that the restrictions of the second arrow was completely different to the first one. This meant that the 2 bone arrows were forged with different means. The restrictions were similar, but weren't the same type. The person who forged this bow and arrow was a genius. If Yi Mo wanted to spirit control the 48 levels, he would need more than a year. Yi Mo couldn't waste that much time in the outer palace, so he stopped spirit controlling the bone arrow. Yi Mo put away the time formation disc and stealth formation and quickly went into the depth of the palace. As Yi Mo went deeper into the lightning kill palace, he felt another murderous chi. This murderous chi was different to the murderous chi on the river, but was also very sharp. There was also a sliver of lightning in this murderous chi. Yi Mo was certain that ordinary immortal king and immortal monarch primary stage wouldn't be able to stay for long if they didn't have special means. He didn't know how the previous immortal monarchs came here. The murderous chi here was powerful, but couldn't affect Yi Mo at all. Yi Mo easily passed through this area. Rows of broken restriction appeared before Yi Mo. There were even some dried skeletons here. These were clearly restrictions with things inside, but the restrictions were broken, and the things inside were gone. Yi Mo carefully took shadowless past these broken restrictions. A gray mist path appeared before Yi Mo. There was extremely fierce killing chi inside, but much less murderous. This wasn't anything to Yi Mo and was even weaker than the chi on the river. He took shadowless in the tunnel without hesitation. There were some scattered bones along the tunnel. Clearly, some immortals had been killed by this tunnel. After this tunnel, Yi Mo saw more broken restrictions. However, unlike before, there were some restrictions not yet broken. A few immortal monarchs were attacking these unbroken restrictions. Yi Mo had never seen these few immortal monarchs. Clearly, while he was spirit, controlling the bone arrow, more people come. Yi Mo took Shadowless inside, and those immortal monarchs started at Yi Mo in shock. When they saw Yi Mo had no wounds on him, they started attacking that restriction again. No one came to talk to Yi Mo. The palace seemed to have a simple layout. Yi Mo didn't stop and took Shadowless past these broken restrictions and went into the next tunnel. The murderous Qi here was much fiercer than before. On top of that, there was a sliver of heart demon calling. How are you fine? That dark-spotted immortal monarch tertiary stage looked at Yi Mo in shock. Clearly, they saw the scrawny old man and the old woman pass here. They thought Yi Mo was dead for sure, but it's been a day and Yi Mo appeared here too. Yi Mo looked at this level 3 palace. Most of the immortal monarchs were here. He saw the long-haired immortal monarch and that monk like immortal monarch fro the Dunyang Hotel. However, the white-skinned immortal king tertiary stage was gone. Yi Mo didn't see Elishan couple. They were probably either gone or at somewhere else. A little less than half the restrictions in here had been broken, but there were quite some complete restrictions. Yi Mo knew this black-spotted immortal monarch. He was called Gu Su. But, of course, Yi Mo wasn't going to talk to him. He was going to take Shadowless to the next level. Seeing Yi Mo ignore him, Gu Su was about to go up to talk. Just at this moment, a sudden rumbling sound appeared in the palace. An extremely terrifying, sharp, killing Qi bursted out. It was far more powerful than the killing Qi in the tunnel. The 3 immortal monarch primary stages couldn't even resist against this and was grinded to pieces. The rest of the immortal monarchs no longer dared to keep attacking the restrictions. They all released their magic artifacts. Yi Mo's spirit sense domain extended out. Those killing Qi immediately calmed down on contact with his spirit sense domain and normal domain. Shadowless gulped on the side, and the calmed down killing Qi were actually all devoured. The killing Qi came and left quickly. Moments later, it disappeared from this hall. After that, only 4 immortal monarchs remained alive in the hall. Even so, they were covered in wounds. Their faces were pale and eyes fearful. Gu Su, immortal monarch, was fine, but was also injured by the killing Qi. When he looked up and saw Yi Mo, was completely fine and didn't even have a single fold on his clothes. There was shock and fear in his eyes. Yi Mo ignored Gu Su, but Shadowless sneezed at him. "Kid, the next time you dare to act cocky to me, I'll eat you." Yi Mo shook his head. Shadowless lacked vocabulary, it's always eating. Yi Mo didn't care about this mere immortal monarch. He sped up and went into the tunnel to the next level. The bone arrows weren't simple. Even in this palace, it probably wouldn't be in the outer palace. In this tunnel, there weren't only murderous Qi, but also dense clusters of lightning attacks. To others, this tunnel was many times harder than the previous one. Even lightning, immortal spirit root immortals wouldn't dare to face this lightning. Even Shadowless didn't dare to face this lightning alone. To Yi Mo, the lightning arcs were easier than the previous tunnels. When he came in, those lightning arcs struck him. He devoured some, and the rest didn't affect him at all. After passing this tunnel, Yi Mo found the hall to be smaller than before. Despite that, there were tens of restrictions inside, and not many were broken. The palace was empty, and even Yi Mo's spirit sense could only scan within 100-meter radius. "I'll open a restriction." Shadowless charged up to a restriction and smacked down with his leg. Before Yi Mo could speak, Shadowless already stepped on this restriction. At the same time, a terrifying sound erupted in the hall as though it was divine damnation. Shadowless was so scared that he quickly hid behind Yi Mo. The next moment, Countless lightning arcs and lightning smashed down. They instantly filled the entire palace. Yi Mo and Shadowless was drowned in this lightning. But Yi Mo didn't care. He felt this lightning kill palace was very familiar. Yi Mo soon remembered why he had this feeling. He felt this feeling when he was in that lethal force dimension palace. The restrictions here were pretty much similar to the same. Due to this discovery, Yi Mo believed more that the person who set up the palace in the lethal force dimension came from the same place as the person who left this palace. Yi Mo soon remembered why he had this feeling. He felt this feeling when he was in that lethal force dimension palace. The restrictions here were pretty much similar to the same. Due to this discovery, Yi Mo believed more that the person who set up the palace in the lethal force dimension came from the same place as the person who left this palace. Seeing Shadowless have some trouble defending against the lightning, Yi Mo threw Shadowless into the Golden Page world. He didn't care if he faced the endless lightning alone. Yi Mo walked up to the restriction Shadowless attacked and hacked with Zisu. Unlike others, he could see a little of what was inside the restriction. This strike hacked at the weak part of the restriction. In just one strike, a crack opened in the restriction. After that, more lightning rained down in the palace. Yi Mo didn't care at all and hacked out again. The restriction cracked and was completely hacked apart by Yi Mo's strikes. Yi Mo looked at the empty restriction and was very disappointed. It seemed not all the restrictions here had things. Many restrictions were empty. Yi Mo hacked open a few restrictions, but found 90% of them were empty. Only from one restriction did Yi Mo get a small dagger. When he grabbed it, Yi Mo felt a powerful pulling force that seemed to want to teleport him out. Yi Mo's spirit sense domain and domain quickly extended out, blocking this power. Then he began looking at the dagger in his hand. It was only 9 cms. Yi Mo scanned with his spirit sense and found that he couldn't see through the restriction on it. Yi Mo put the dagger into the Golden Page world and immediately felt the pulling power become much weaker. He wasn't interested in opening more restrictions here, so he sped up going forward. The more forward Yi Mo went, the denser the lightning was. However, he no longer saw more tunnels. The path was completely covered with lightning and all sorts of fierce killing chi. This lightning was mixed with murderous killing intent. Yi Mo thought that this was indeed the lightning kill god palace. Even an immortal emperor might not be able to get forward safely. Yi Mo wondered if Yulushin couple got here and if Chu Qin divine emperor and the old woman could come here. Half an hour later, Yi Mo felt the place he was going getting more and more narrow and slanted. It was as though he was walking into the depth of the earth. At the same time, Yi Mo's spirit sense was getting more and more suppressed, so he used spirit 9 transformations as God Art Rainbow. His spirit sense formed an invisible sword rainbow and swept out. Immediately, the spirit sense binding was broken. The scene within 10 kilometers were in his sea of consciousness. He saw Chu Chen, divine emperor, and the old woman. The immortal king, disciple of hers, was completely fine. They stood at a place, and there seemed to be less lightning at that place. Yi Mo immediately realized that was so, called the life corner. Other than these two, Yi Mo scanned 2 more. They were standing at a spot with very little lightning. That was probably a life corner. One of them was an immortal emperor primary stage, and one was a mortal emperor tertiary stage. Yi Mo's spirit sense scanned the 4, and they immediately sensed it. However, Yi Mo could see them, but they couldn't see Yi Mo. Only Chu Qin, divine emperor, frowned and glanced at Yi Mo's position, but shook his head. Just when Yi Mo wanted to go over, the 4 got up at the same direction and dashed in a direction. The next moment, they disappeared from Yi Mo's spirit sense. Yi Mo sped up too. In a few seconds, he came to where they disappeared, but there was a space formation door. Seeing 4 immortal emperors go in, Yi Mo went in without hesitation. As soon as Yi Mo did, The nearby lightning and lethal force grew scarce. He found himself in a golden stairway palace. As soon as Yemo came here, Chu Chen and the old woman noticed, but they said nothing. The other two immortal emperors stared at Yemo with uncertainty. All those who could come here were either a mortal emperor or came with a mortal emperor. Now, Yemo was here. Although he showed his power to be immortal king middle stage, he was probably an immortal emperor. They were confused because they haven't seen Yemo before. There were 6 immortal emperors always staying at the river, and they all knew each other, but they have never seen Yemo. Immortal friend, how come you seem unfamiliar? The immortal emperor tertiary stage saluted with his fists to Yemo. He looked amicable. Yemo smiled. I'm a passerby, so I came to see. No need to mind me. At this moment, Yemo's spirit sense had seen this entire palace completely. The further one went ahead, the narrower the stairs became, and the more lightning there was. They were standing at the bottom of the stairs. As they went up, there would be denser lightning arcs and lethal force. There was no life corners anymore. One spirit sense couldn't reach into the lightning killing force. One couldn't see what was on the other side of the stairs. Yemo didn't use spirit sense rainbow to check. Even if he wouldn't do it in front of the other immortal emperors. All the immortal emperors came here, clearly because this was where the good things were. We have 5 immortal emperors here. Although it's not many, but we can stack our domains together and release our defense magic artifacts. We might still be able to get inside. The only immortal emperor, primary stage, said, I'm fine with it. The immortal emperor, tertiary stage, said. Chu Chen, divine emperor, and the old woman nodded. I'm fine too. Seeing Yemo not talk, everyone looked at Yemo. Yemo turned back and smiled. You guys can team up. I like to go alone. Then Yemo sped up and walked on the stairway. Hearing this, Chu Chen, divine emperor, and the old woman seemed normal as they had seen Yemo's power, but that immortal emperor, primary stage's face sunk and said coldly, insolent fool, are you the only immortal emperor here? Who isn't an immortal emperor here? Yemo heard this immortal emperor, primary stage, of course, but he didn't have time to waste here. Brother Little Mud, this person is too cocky. We've been at the river all these years, but haven't seen someone as cocky as him. The immortal emperor, primary stage, saluted with his fists to the scrawny old man. He was immortal emperor, primary stage, but at the peak he was just 1 step away from middle stage. In terms of power, he was on par with the old woman and could even suppress her. Chu Chen, immortal emperor, coughed a few times before saying, Oh, I've seen Yemo at Dunyang Hotel. I can't really say much. Cough, cough, cough. Hearing this, the immortal emperor, primary stage, knew that Chu Chen, divine emperor, didn't want to help. He wasn't asking Chu Chen, divine emperor, to help. He just wanted to notify Chu Chen, divine emperor, in case he was no match for Yemo. He wanted the scrawny old man to resolve the conflict. Yemo seemed to be an immortal king middle stage, but only an idiot would take him for one. Yemo didn't look very old, so he suspected Yemo was an immortal emperor, primary stage. He didn't ask the old woman, and then turned his eyes to immortal emperor, tertiary stage. Brother Kuong, I'm going to teach this guy a lesson. The immortal emperor, tertiary stage, smiled bitterly and interrupted him while pointing at Yemo. Infa, immortal emperor, have a look. Do you think you can do it? If so, then go challenge him. In Fa, immortal emperor, just noticed Yemo. Yemo had walked into the lightning lethal force. The dense cluster of lightning arcs and lethal force had completely enveloped him, but he was completely fine. In Fa, immortal emperor, just noticed Yemo. Yemo had walked into the lightning lethal force. The dense cluster of lightning arcs and lethal force had completely enveloped him, but he was completely fine. In Fa, immortal emperor stared at Yemo with shock. He knew that to walk in the lightning arcs, at least a few immortal emperors must stack their domains together. He thought Yemo would stop after feeling the pressure, but the reality was completely opposite. Just who was this person? How could he walk into there alone? It's not that immortal pet, he can do it himself. Chu Chin, Divine Emperor murmured. Chu Chun, Divine Emperor, originally thought that the reason Yemo could pave a path on the river was due to his strange pet. Chu Chin, Divine Emperor, even thought that the pet was no immortal pet, but god-beast. When he saw Yemo go into the lightning freely, he knew he completely guessed wrong. Martial sister Kai Lu, who is he? Is he very strong? Fa Immortal Emperor woke up and asked the old woman. The old woman sneered. If he wants to kill you, he wouldn't need more than 15 minutes. Fa Immortal Emperor took in a cold breath and felt timid. Luckily that Immortal Emperor wasn't someone to start trouble. If it was some strange-tempered guy, he might be fighting Yemo now. We'll join our domains and go in. Staying here isn't the way. Chu Chen, Divine Emperor, said, seeing that Yemo's spirit sense had disappeared from spirit sense. The other people immediately agreed. The Immortal Emperors released their defense magic artifacts and walked onto the stairway together. As for the old woman's disciple, she was sent into a small world. The lightning lethal force here was strong, but for Yemo, it didn't affect him much. He was devouring part of the lightning arc lethal force. A part of it hit his immortal god body, middle stage body, and couldn't do much damage. When Yemo's spirit sense completely couldn't see Chu Chin, Divine Emperor, and them, he used a rainbow cut to break open here. Yemo's spirit sense could clearly see what was ahead. More than 10 light 9 arc tunnels appeared in his spirit sense. There seemed to be different things in each. Yemo immediately realized that this was a really good place to cultivate Carnage God art. If he learned all the killing chi here, then his Carnage God art would be in great completion. But Yemo wasn't interested in this. He cultivated 3 birth chant, not Carnage God art. Yemo's spirit sense scanned into one of the tunnels, and a jade platform restriction appeared in his spirit sense. Some of the restrictions were broken. There was a platform after every restriction and a rink. They were shaped in different forms, but were all in the form of swords. When Yemo's spirit sense scanned another tunnel, he also saw another jade stone platform. However, the rink were spear-shaped. Yemo soon realized that the platforms were for placing magic artifact, and the empty platforms meant that the magic artifact were taken away. Those platforms with complete restriction would have top magic artifacts inside. Realizing this, Yemo's heart lit up. His spirit sense scanned in a few more tunnels. He had to find which tunnel Golden Bone Arrow was. Tens of seconds later, Yemo found the tunnel with arrow-shaped magic artifact. It was on the far left. Yemo dashed in without hesitation. He didn't even care what the other tunnels have. The golden bow of immortal extermination was too useful to him. After going into the tunnel, Yemo immediately sensed that the lightning arcs and murderous chi in here was completely different to outside. It was calmer at the start, but the deeper you went, the more volatile they were. The few jade stone platforms at the front had been broken. Yemo sped up, and eventually he even had to use his domain to help defend himself. Yemo passed more than 10 jade stone platforms, but some of the restrictions were broken. There were some unbroken, but Yemo didn't touch it. Yemo wasn't looking for any arrow, he was looking for the Golden Bone Arrow. These rinks were very ordinary. There was no way it would be the Golden Bone Arrow. At the 13th platform, Yemo finally stopped. The restriction was broken, and the rink had the exact print as Yemo's Golden Bone Arrow. However, it was empty. Yemo came to the next platform, but the restriction was also broken. The shape was exactly the same as the bow and arrow. 15th, 16th platform. When Yemo reached the 18th platform and saw the restriction was also broken, his heart sunk. He didn't check one by one. He knew these 9 platforms would be joined together. Yemo scanned with his spirit sense and indeed found that till the 20th platform, the restrictions were all broken. There was only the 21st platform, and the restriction here wasn't broken. However, Even with his spirit sense and using rainbow technique, he felt it difficult here. Yi-Mo took back his spirit sense god artifact and stacked his spirit sense domain with his immortal monarch domain. He carefully moved forward. At the latter part of the tunnel, even he felt it was tough. How did the previous 20 people come in here? This wasn't a place ordinary immortal emperors could come in. Zhizong, immortal emperor, would at most be able to come to the 9th platform, and this was if he relied on a top magic artifact. Otherwise, he couldn't be able to come to here. Zhizong, immortal emperor, definitely had some magic artifact or someone to help him take the golden bow of immortal extermination. However, he didn't get Zhizong, immortal emperor's storage ring, so he doesn't know. Yi-Mo came to the 21st platform and found that this was the final platform. Thinking about all the other platforms left, Yi-Mo's dejected mood was a little better. He had decided to break the restriction here and then go to other tunnels. This was a similar restriction to the one in the Void Palace. Yi-Mo spent 15 minutes to study this restriction and then hacked down with Zhisu. Rumble! Zhisu's sword ray was blocked completely, and Yi-Mo was shaken a few meters away. Such powerful restriction. Yi-Mo didn't expect he could break it in one strike. He hacked another strike. The rumbling sound mixed in with the lightning sound in this tunnel, creating an echo. Yi-Mo hacked down again and again. The restriction cracked a little under Yi-Mo's attack, but they soon repaired. Yi-Mo attacked faster and faster, and the marks he made were deeper and deeper. When he saw the crack get larger, Yi-Mo found in shock that there seemed to be an extremely powerful force in the palace, pulling him, wanting to teleport him away. Yi-Mo was shocked and quickly smashed out Zhisu. Eventually, he even used Crevice God Art. Crack! Finally, the restriction was completely broken, and the Jadestone platform appeared. A faint golden bone arrow was placed in the center of the rink. Yi-Mo rejoiced and grabbed that bone arrow without hesitation. As soon as it came in his hand, the terrifying killing intent let Yi-Mo know that he got the real golden bone arrow. A faint golden bone arrow was placed in the center of the rink. Yi-Mo rejoiced and grabbed that bone arrow without hesitation. As soon as it came in his hand, the terrifying killing intent let Yi-Mo know that he got the real golden bone arrow. Immediately, that terrifying teleportation power filled all of Yi-Mo's body and was about to tear Yi-Mo away, not allowing him to stay in here anymore. Yi-Mo's spirit sense domain and domain smashed out and could only barely stop this pulling power. Yi-Mo clearly didn't want to be teleported out like this. There were so many good things here. He quickly sent the golden bone arrow into the golden page world and prepared to defend against this pulling power with all of his might. The same time the gold arrow was thrown in the golden page world, the pulling force grew much less but was still there. It just wasn't as scary as before. Yi-Mo breathed easy. If he didn't have the golden page world, he would definitely not be able to resist the pulling force. From this, Yi-Mo believed that ordinary people could only take one item away here. How did Zhizong, immortal emperor, take the bow and the arrow? Yi-Mo didn't keep breaking the restrictions here. He probably only had one more chance. Even if he was teleported out, he would spend a lot of time to come back in. After leaving this tunnel, Yi-Mo started using his spirit sense god art to see what was inside the restrictions. He only had one chance, so he had to find something suitable for him. Yi-Mo's spirit sense scanned, and each tunnel seemed to be filled with different magic artifacts. Yi-Mo had decided that if he couldn't find anything really good in these tunnels, he would go to the sword tunnel to find a sword he need. But soon, Yi-Mo realized that there were too many good things here. One tunnel was filled with all sorts of pill cauldrons. This itched Yi-Mo's heart. Although he had a Shun-known cauldron and a low-grade god artifact, but as a peak immortal pill grandmaster, it was better to have more pill cauldrons. Yi-Mo resisted the urge to go into the pill cauldron tunnel and kept scanning his spirit sense. His heart itched more. He saw flying magic artifact tunnel. flying boats, ships, carts. Yi Mo wanted to go in and find a top-level flying magic artifact and swap out his fake space-time boat. He was a level 8 immortal forgery grandmaster, but he couldn't forge his own flying god artifact. Plus, he didn't have the materials to make one. When Yi Mo's spirit sense scanned the most right tunnel, he was dazed. There were only 3 platforms there, and 2 of them were broken. Each platform were bead-shaped and had 12 rinks on each platform. The shape was quite familiar. Yi Mo subconsciously took out the 12 lightning orbs he had. This was the lightning sea god orbs he was finding for Mo. At the time, he was only hollow immortal and fought a golden immortal for this and almost died. Yi Mo immediately charged into the right tunnel. Yi Mo even thought he had collected all 36 orbs. Yi Mo had 12 on her and he had 12. He found another 12 here. Then wasn't it complete? Yi Mo started attacking the 3rd platform restriction. As he attacked, he threw out formation flags. He knew he could use formations to help him. The restriction here was stronger than the restriction for the Golden Bone arrow. Yi Mo even suspected that the restriction was attacked before and didn't break. That's why it was left here. Su hacked out purple ray god art while Yi Mo threw out break formation flags. Half a day later, the restriction was completely surrounded by Yi Mo's formation flags. Yi Mo knew that if he could calm down and slowly derive this formation, he would not only be able to solve the restriction and increase his formation knowledge. Attacking it with force now would also help, but not as good as slowly deriving. Yi Mo didn't have the mood to slowly derive. He felt the more he broke the restriction, the greater the pulling force was. Yi Mo suspected that if he calmed down to derive, he would soon be teleported away. It wasn't easy for him to see this 12 orbs. How could he let himself be teleported away? He used another crevice god art. This time, the god art gathered all the lightning arcs and lethal force nearby and smashed on the brittle restriction. The restriction was instantly torn open, creating a loud thud. 12 orbs with lightning sparks around it appeared before Yi Mo. Yi Mo felt it was a bit different to the lightning orbs he got before, but he couldn't care that much. He didn't even check it and just threw it into his golden page world. Rumble. A windpipe like sound pressed on Yi Mo. That extremely powerful pulling force stopped Yi Mo from staying here and teleported away. Yi Mo felt his head dizzy. When he woke up, he found himself at the side of the Qingwei Abyssal River. This was the place he entered the river. Yi Mo released an immortal ship and dashed in the river again. This lightning palace had things he had never seen before. How could he leave with just 3 items? The tunnel Yi Mo had opened before was completely gone. Yi Mo didn't refine murderous qi here to pave a way. He just charged at the palace. Yi Mo was extremely fast, and in just half a day he came to that whirlpool place. The whirlpool was still there. Yi Mo breathed easy. Without hesitation, he dashed into the whirlpool. However, Yi Mo was extremely disappointed to find that as soon as he went in, he was pushed out by a powerful force. This whirlpool remembered that he came in here and didn't allow him to go in a second time. Yi Mo fell in the river. When the murderous qi and killing intent invaded him, Yi Mo realized that one could either come in here once or would have to wait a long time before coming back again. Yi Mo thought the powerful being who palmed out the river left this here, but now he abandoned that idea. There was no way he would leave something this orderly here. That person would even destroy the immortal realm. How could he leave this for the immortal realm? This palace was here almost as if to encourage people to increase their power to get the magic artifacts. No wonder those immortal emperors didn't like up to come here again and again. Yi Mo had made up his mind to come back again when his cultivation level was higher. When Yi Mo was surrounded by the murderous qi, he felt very uncomfortable all over his body. Just when he wanted to charge out, a figure dashed at him like lightning. It was Abyss Dark Shark. Yi Emo saw this immediately. He swept his purple sword ray out and blood spread in the water. Although he killed this shark in one strike, he was pushed back tens of meters by the shark's force. A white stone appeared before Yi Emo. Yi Emo grabbed it, and a powerful killing intent and murderous chi instantly filled Yi Emo's sea of consciousness and body. This was wine kill stone, a white one. Yi Emo remembered that he had the wine recipe, but didn't have the stones, so he didn't leave immediately and instead dove into the bottom of the river and started to find the wine kill stone. Yi Emo was at a place where the murderous chi came in cycles. This place was easiest to form all sorts of wine kill stones. Yi Emo found large amounts of blue and white wine kill stone. He even found a pile of black wine kill stone. Three days later, Yi Emo dashed out of the bottom of the river. During this time, he found a few thousand blue and white stones and more than 100 black stones. He even killed a few hundred sharks. There was no more point staying here. Yi Emo had decided to leave the river and head towards Ice God Palace. 3 days later, Yi Emo dashed out of the bottom of the river. During this time, he found a few thousand blue and white stones and more than 100 black stones. He even killed a few hundred sharks. There was no more point staying here. Yi Emo had decided to leave the river and head towards Ice God Palace. After coming back to his ship, Yi Emo called out Shadowless and let Shadowless control the ship. Shadowless can't defend the murderous chi at the heart of the river yet. But after these days, Yi Emo had some understanding of the murderous chi. Plus, he kept breaking the restrictions in the palace. So Yi Emo set up a few defense formations for the murderous chi. That way, Shadowless could control the boat. Yi Emo immediately went into the Golden Page world. He wanted to check if the orbs he got this time was different to the ones he got before. These 12 orbs were bluish-gray out the outside. Yi Emo took out the 12 orbs he had and placed it with the ones he just got. If he didn't compare, he really wouldn't be able to tell the difference between, but after comparing, Yi Emo immediately realized that the 12 orbs he got before were fake, just like his space-time boat. The 12 orbs at the Lightning Kill God Palace were the real ones. These 12 orbs contained boundless lightning source, killing chi and endless power. It wasn't something the other 12 orbs could compare with. Yi Emo put away the 12 real orbs and wasn't really disappointed. Yi Emo had 12 fake ones. He had 12 fake and 12 real ones. Regardless, he helped Yi Emo gather 36 lightning orbs. Even though they were fake, the combined power of 36 orbs were extremely powerful. Yi Emo gave the wine recipe and wine kill stone to Small Ginseng as he began spirit controlling the golden bone arrow. He had 3 bone arrows now. One of them was spirit controlled to the 48th restriction. One was to the 13th restriction, and the third one wasn't spirit controlled at all. 7 days later, Yi Emo's spirit controlled the second arrow to 48th restriction, and then the third one to level 9 when he received news from Shadowless. Yi Emo immediately took the golden arrows out from the Golden Page world. The third arrow was many times harder than the previous 2 arrows. He needed to find a peaceful place to spirit control it to the 48th level. Leaving the Golden Page world, Yi Emo realized why Shadowless called him out. There was no direction on the ship. The boat was still on the abyssal river, but the murderous chi was gone. Instead, it was this soul, freezing coldness. Just like Yulishing. The frost here was etched into the bones, and even the sea of consciousness and soul. Boss, there's no more way to go. This sect wasn't suitable for Nie Shuang. He wouldn't allow her to cultivate here. The space-time boat sped up and Shadowless sensed Yi Emo's fury. Its force grew too. If Boss was angry, it meant that there would be battle. If there was battle, then he could eat. Traveling in the ice forest didn't make Yi Emo's body cold. Instead, its temperature soared with his fury. Yi Emo thought of the blue bead small world in the Golden Page world and a woman called Qing Ru. She was from Ice God Palace. When Yemo first saw her, he suspected she wasn't from the cultivation realm. The reason he kept the blue bead world and his golden page world up until now was mainly because he pitied her. Seeing this pitiful Ice God Palace scene twice, this made him lose good impression of Ice God Palace altogether. If he had time now, he would definitely spirit control that blue bead small world and ask Qingru what this was. Yi Emo wasn't someone who liked to mind others' business, but what the Ice God Palace did touched his line. The space-time boat flew for another 2 hours, and the ice forest was behind him. The ice peaks that appeared was no longer sleek and slender. It was grand and monumental. That uncomfortable feeling finally disappeared. Although there was ice mountains and peaks everywhere here, the cold that froze essence, spirit, and sea of consciousness was gone. These ice peaks should be real, right? Shadowless raised his big foot and kicked on an ice peak. Rumble, this ice peak was kicked to pieces, and ice shards flew everywhere. Yemo saw this was a real ice peak. No one was inside. Who dares to ravage our Ice God Palace? A cold voice sounded, and then a blue-dressed female immortal flew over. Yemo's spirit sense already saw this woman. She was extremely beautiful, and her body was amazing. She flew over rapidly. She was immortal king, tertiary stage power. Yemo's spirit sense already saw this woman. She was extremely beautiful, and her body was amazing. She flew over rapidly. She was immortal king, tertiary stage power. Did you guys come from Qing Wei Abyssal River? The immortal king, dazed in front of Yi Emo and Shadowless. She felt a powerful killing chi from Shadowless. Only someone who crossed the Qing Wei Abyssal River would have this, but who could cross the river? Is this Ice God Palace? Yi Emo saluted with his fists and asked. The female immortal king immediately said, "That's right, this is Ice God Palace. Since you know it's our place, why did you break our ice peak?" "Oh, my pet is stupid, but I already criticized him," Yi Emo said casually. Shadowless looked at Yi Emo, speechlessly too. "I came to visit Ice God Palace. Palace Lord, lead the way," Yi Emo said. The female immortal king sneered. "Do you think you can visit our palace, Lord, whenever you want? Our Ice God Palace won't allow outsiders to come. Anyone who enters our domain will be killed." Then this immortal king released an ice moon shovel and attacked Yemo. Yemo had heard of this rule. But with the Ice God Palace being here, ordinary people wouldn't even be able to come here. Yemo knew the Ice God Palace probably had a safe and hidden entrance. Only people from the Ice God Palace would know. As for the immortal king, she didn't have any killing intent when she attacked. She wasn't a bad person and probably just wanted to shoo them off. Yemo didn't trouble her and hacked with Su hacking the spade away. With his power, if he didn't want to show any respect, he could grab the spade with his hand and remove her spirit sense mark very quickly. Before the immortal king could be shocker, another dashing light came. "Martial sister Luoyu, what is this?" An icy cold voice sounded. Yemo and Shadowless studied this woman. She was immortal monarch primary stage and was half a head taller than that martial sister. She wore a white immortal robe. If the immortal king still had a sliver of emotion, the immortal monarch had no life force in her voice. It was completely icy cold. Even Shadowless was uncomfortable hearing this voice. "Martial sister Jiwen, this person brought his immortal pet into our Ice God Palace forbidden grounds. I was planning to capture them." Luoyu bowed and said, "A mere insect, kill them." The immortal monarch sneered and released a silver blade, hacking at Yemo without asking anything. This silver blade brought tens of thousands of sword rays and swept Yemo and Shadowless in at the same time. The immortal king couldn't bear to look at them grinded to pieces and subconsciously looked away. Shadowless was furious and bit down. Countless silver blades were immediately devoured and disappeared. A dimmed silver blade fell from the sky, and Yemo pulled it into his hands while punching. Before Ji, when immortal monarch, could wake up from her shock, Yemo's fist force away. She was punched flying and smashed into a mountain a few hundred meters away. The mountain was pulverized, but she was paralyzed on the ground as she kept spitting blood. Her meridians were broken. Yemo released a blue flame and threw the silver blade into the fire. In a few seconds, the blade was turned to dust. At this moment, Luo Yu, immortal king, finally woke up and charged towards her martial sister. She took out a pill and put it into her mouth immediately. She didn't have the time to think how Yemo could beat an immortal monarch into heavy injury with one move. Yemo wasn't in a rush to leave. He was waiting for this immortal king to save her martial sister, Jiwen. He showed mercy just then. If he didn't, that martial sister Jiwen would have been torn to pieces. Nie Shuang was still in the Ice God Palace. Before he saw Nie Shuang, he didn't want to kill Ice God Palace people. With the help of that immortal king, the immortal monarch's body wasn't destroyed. She was held up by the immortal king as she stared at Yemo with shock and terror. At this moment, she finally realized that Yemo was a mortal emperor. At the same time, she sent out a message. He was waiting for the 3 Ice God Palace, lords to come. It really wasn't easy for him to find where the palace was. There were restrictions and stealth formations everywhere. Soon after Jiwen made the message, 7 dashing lights came over. Yemo's spirit sense saw clearly that the one leading the charge was an immortal emperor, primary stage. They were all women. The immortal emperor seemed even younger than Luo Yu, immortal king. She had a white veil on her face and wore faint green robes. No one could see her real appearance, but just looking at her body, people would know she couldn't be ugly. Out of the 6 people following, 3 were immortal king, tertiary stage, and 2 were immortal monarch. One was only great extreme immortal, great 3rd palace lord. When the green-robed immortal emperor came, Luo Yu and Jiwen immediately bowed. So this was Ice God Palace, 3rd palace lord. Yu Xia was right. The 3 palace lords were all immortal emperors. It was the 2nd palace lord who took Nie Shuang. Looking at Wen's injury, the 3rd palace lord immediately frowned. She took out a pill and gave it to Jiwen. Before Jiwen could thank her, the 3rd palace lord turned to Yemo. Yemo, greet 3rd palace lord. Yemo saluted with his fists and asked, "Why did you barge into our Ice God Palace territory and injure my Ice God Palace sect member?" The 3rd palace lord's tone was as cold as Jiwen's. Yemo was very annoyed. Did this place produce ice people? Why did they speak in the same tone? Regardless if this place is your Ice God Palace, I have no ill intention here. I just came to visit the 3 palace lord and bring a message for Ice God Palace. Yet your sect members has no manners. The first sect member at least said something, but the second one didn't even ask anything and attacked. I already gave you huge face by not killing her, Yemo said with annoyance. 3rd palace lord sneered, "What a huge face." Then her force suddenly rose. The nearby icy space seemed to be swept by her domain. Her domain had terrifying frosty killing chi. The nearby sect members all retreated. They knew the terror of the 3rd palace lord. Shadowless glanced at Yemo, and seeing his boss annoyed, he immediately called, "A mere immortal emperor primary stage dares to be cocky. You're not taking the respect we're giving you, I'll eat." Shadowless opened his mouth, and the immortal emperor domain was instantly bit open. At the same time, 3rd palace lord's face changed. Before she could release her magic artifact, Shadowless sucked and her domain completely disappeared. Shadowless chewed a few times before moaning. "This domain is so shit, it's far weaker than Chu Qin Divine Emperor's domain, and even Wei Feng Grand Emperor's domain. This isn't satisfying." Yemo stared at Shadowless with his jaws open. When did this guy know how to bluff like this? Since when did he bite Chu Qin Divine Emperor's domain? Plus, Chu Qin Divine Emperor was probably weaker than Wei Feng Grand Emperor now. Yemo wasn't going to call Shadowless out, of course. Yemo wasn't going to call Shadowless out, of course. The third palace lord saw her domain, didn't even bring up the corner of Yemo's clothes, and was devoured by Yemo's pet. This Yemo didn't even move nor release magic artifact. A pet that could devour a mortal emperor domain was already shocking enough, but now this pet said her domain was too weak and was weaker than Chu Qin Divine Emperor and Wei Feng Grand Emperor. Of course, she had heard of these two. Chu Qin Divine Emperor was a legendary, powerful being. She didn't expect he was still alive, and the two fought. She had seen Wei Feng Grand Emperor. They wouldn't say such things if they weren't truly able to take Wei Feng on. "Boss, should we invade first?" Shadowless saw that his words shocked an immortal emperor, and immediately said gloatingly. Yemo knew that these things shouldn't go over the line, so he yelled, "Shut up!" The third palace lord didn't have the force with which she came with. She made an extremely simple bow to Yemo. "Immortal friend, why did you charge into our ice god palace?" Yemo knew that this palace lord didn't dare to use force after seeing his power. Yemo didn't keep abusing her since Nya Shuang was still in her. He saluted with his fists and said, "I already said that I came to visit Ice God Palace, to visit the three palace lords, and to bring a message for someone. That's all, but your way of hospitality isn't polite at all. So that's it. I'm the third palace lord Rushu. Sorry for my rudeness. This way, please, immortal friendy." The third palace lord changed her manners, as though she was truly sorry after knowing why Yemo came here. Yemo knew that this couldn't be it. He sound transmission to Shadowless and let Shadowless be wary. Who knew if there were traps laid out for that? Jiwen was taken care of by someone. Yemo and Shadowless followed the third palace lord and crossed many ice peaks, but still didn't see Ice God Palace. On the way, Yemo's spirit sense scanned all sorts of restrictions and stealth formations. He didn't know what was inside, but he had less good feelings towards the Ice God Palace. Another 5 minutes later, a huge black ice door appeared before Yemo. 3 words floated above the door, Ice God Palace. Ice God Palace smiled to Yemo. "Immortal friendy, the Ice God Palace is here. Please go in." Yemo went in the door with Shadowless without hesitation. He knew there was some problems with the way they were taken here, but he wasn't scared. When Jiwen asked for help, the third palace lord soon arrived there, but now it took more than 15 minutes to get here. Yemo didn't know if the place here was the real Ice God Palace, as there were spirit sense restrictions everywhere. His spirit sense couldn't reach further. Although Yemo's spirit sense god art could easily break in, he didn't do this. He was still a guest here. If he broke the restrictions, he would be offending them. Moments later, the third palace lord brought Yemo to a round hall. Seeing Yemo come in, a wealthy-looking lady sitting inside came up. "Su Lian, welcome, immortal friendy, to the Ice God Palace." This wealthy lady came up and bowed. "Palace lord." Third palace lord bowed to this woman and said to Yemo, "Immortal friendy, she's our big palace lord." Yemo returned the gesture. He knew the Ice God Palace was prepared. He didn't even speak, and the big palace lord knew his name. This big palace lord seemed much more lively than the third palace lord. Her cultivation level was also far higher. She was immortal emperor tertiary stage. This hall was very round, but other than the big palace lord and the third palace lord, there was only some bland-tasting immortal tea. It was a far cry from ethereal immortal pawns welcome to him. Although the two were rather polite, Yemo felt a sliver of discomfort. He cancelled the thought of telling them that he brought their small world over. He had decided to see Nya Shuang first. "Palace lords, I heard there's also a second palace, Lord of Ice God Palace. How come I don't see her?" Yemo asked. The big palace lord frowned, but this action immediately faded. She smiled and said, Martial's sister Tanyao is still in solitary cultivation. What matter did a mortal friend Yi come to Ice God Palace for? I heard you say you were here to deliver a message to Ice God Palace. What message is it? Oh, I mainly came here to see Nye Shuang. Is she all right now? Yi Mo didn't want to say anything before he saw Nye Shuang. Nye Shuang. The big palace lord repeated in surprise. She had never really expected Yi Mo to come to see Nye Shuang. Immortal friend, Yi knows Shuang? Third palace lord asked in surprise. Yi Mo got up and saluted with his fists. That's right, Shuang is my friend, and we come from the same place. I came to find here. If she's here, then please call her over. Martial's sister Ru Shu, stay with immortal friend Yi. Here I'll bring Shuang over. Unexpectedly, the big palace lord didn't reject it all and got up. It seemed Shuang had some status here. Otherwise, the big palace lord wouldn't go to call her over personally. Yi Mo eased up and sat down while saluted with his fists to big palace lord. After the palace lord left, the third palace lord was more hospitable to Yi Mo. Unlike how she didn't want to talk before, she kept asking Yi Mo all sorts of questions. But soon Yi Mo found that her questions were a bit strange. She didn't ask where he came from, nor how he knew Shuang, nor how he knew Shuang was here. She asked about how Yi Mo crossed the Qingwei Abyssal River and what he saw on the way. She would ask every detail. 5 minutes later, Yi Mo still didn't see Big Palace Lord bring Shuang over. He was confused. The Ice God Palace only needed a few minchus to bring someone over. 15 minutes later, Yi Mo suddenly got up. No matter how hospitable Third Palace Lord was, he didn't want to keep waiting. At this moment, Yi Mo heard Nye Shuang's shaky and joyful voice. Is that Brother Yi? Yi Mo looked up and saw Nye Shuang standing at the door with teary eyes. The big palace Lord wasn't by her. She wore a faint green dress, just like when they first went on a date. The third palace Lord got up and said softly, Immortal friend, you please talk to Shuang. I'll leave for a moment. Shadowless seemed to know it shouldn't stay here and went into the Golden Page world. Brother Yi, it's your immortal pet. Nye Shuang noticed Shadowless. Yi Mo quickly said, no need to mind him. Shuang, it's only been 100 years, and your golden immortal primary stage. How did you cultivate so quickly? When Yi Mo brought her into the immortal realm, she was only an ordinary qi gathering cultivator. Brother Yi, if it wasn't for you, Shuang would have been dead already. I didn't expect I would be able to see you again in my lifetime. Shuang couldn't resist sniffing. Yi Mo felt a little wrong. He couldn't feel what was wrong, but he felt that his reunion with her shouldn't feel like this. He didn't feel any happiness seeing her again. Shuang, give me your wrist. Yi Mo went up and grabbed her wrist. He really wanted to know if she was the real Nye Shuang and if there were some sort of restrictions on her. Nye Shuang had been in the Golden Page world for all these years. Yi Mo was used to her qi already. After running his immortal essence in Nye Shuang's body, he immediately knew this was the real Nye Shuang, and she had no restrictions. Yi Mo breathed easy. Shuang, what was the situation at the time? Nye Shuang looked around carefully, and suddenly sound transmission to Yi Mo. Will you take me away later? Yes, Shuang, I don't feel this place is good. I really don't like this place. I don't want you to keep staying here, so I want to take you away. Yi Mo said. Nye Shuang breathed easy. After we leave here, I'll tell you. All these things that happened is hard to say in a few words, but I'm happy to see you again here. No, Shuang, you were frozen by the shadowless worm to save me. Thinking about this, Yi Mo wanted to ask about her shadowless worm, but was pulled by Nye Shuang. Let's talk in my room. I don't like it here. Nia Shuang's place wasn't small. There was a garden. Her cultivation room was separated with her sleeping room. Nia Shuang's bedroom was simple but elegant. Yi Emo liked it this way. It seemed more real. Nia Shuang's place wasn't small. There was a garden. Her cultivation room was separated with her sleeping room. Nia Shuang's bedroom was simple but elegant. Yi Emo liked it this way. It seemed more real. Nia Shuang poured a cup for Yi Emo and sat down too. Shuang, you seem to have something on your mind. Yi Emo felt Nia Shuang wasn't right. No. Nia Shuang shook her head. I've lived here for 100 years. My master is very nice to me, and she's still in solitary cultivation. Thinking about how I'm about to leave her and the Ice God Palace, I'm a bit sad. Suddenly, Nia Shuang seemed to have thought of the past and sighed. Brother Yi, do you still remember my first pet Luan? I actually miss it a bit. I love reminiscing the past. Brother Yi, it's just like the first time I saw you. I feel this serenity on you. I like that feeling. I'm even thinking if many things were like the past, I would be very happy. Yi Emo quickly interrupted her. Shuang, don't bring up the past. I'll take you to leave this place. This isn't a good place. I'll take you to a better place with many friends. Brother Yi, I don't want to stay here too. Nia Shuang nodded and suddenly asked in confusion, Brother Yi, you said I was only a chi-gathering cultivator before. How did you bring me to the immortal realm? It's luck. Yi Emo hesitated and said, Shuang, I'll tell you after we go out, it's nothing amazing. Nia Shuang nodded obediently. Okay, Brother Yi, what's your current cultivation level? I've never seen the big palace lord and third palace lord greet a man at the same time. Yi Emo didn't hide it. I had some fortune, so my cultivation speed is fast, but it's not as high as your palace lord's. It's mainly because my pet is strong and likes to bluff. That's why the two palace lord are concerned. Nia Shuang was only golden immortal primary stage. Yi Emo didn't want to say his cultivation level in case she felt the difference was too huge. Is it the dragon horse with wings? Nia Shuang asked in surprise and joy. Yi Emo felt more and more uncomfortable. He felt this wasn't the words he wanted to talk with Nia Shuang now. However, he still nodded. Yes, by the way, Shuang, where is your shadowless worm? Yi Emo knew that shadowless needed too much resources to grow. Even if Nia Shuang was in the Ice God Palace, she might not be able to feed it. He asked this to find a way to help her feed it. I've kept it somewhere. I'll go get it. Brother Yi, thank you for bringing me to the immortal realm. Nia Shuang thanked again. Yi Emo frowned. Shuang, you don't need to be so polite. If you didn't save me with your life, I would be dead already. What I did for you is nothing. Nia Shuang's eyes went red and she sobbed. No, Brother Yi, I pretty much did nothing. Before meeting you, I only knew loneliness. After knowing you, I had friends. I'm forever grateful to you. This was the first time Yi Emo sensed Nia Shuang's real emotions coming here. He reproached himself for thinking so much. He quickly got up and said, Shuang, let's not talk about this. We'll talk about this after we leave. Brother Yi, this is my bedroom. Wait for me a bit. I'll be back soon. Nia Shuang left with a red face and closed the door after leaving. Yi Emo sat in her room and felt a little unnatural. This room was hers, but he had this strange feeling. If this wasn't Nia Shuang's bedroom, Yi Emo's spirit sense would have scanned out carefully. Nia Shuang had been in his golden page world for many years. It should be fine if he checked, right? Yi Emo scanned his spirit sense and immediately got up. This was indeed a bedroom, but everything inside had never been used. Yi Emo's spirit sense scanned out and found his spirit sense was blocked by the door. Without hesitation, Yi Emo dashed to the door and pulled the handle. Brother Yi, sorry, You saved me a few times, and I only saved you once. But this time I'm going to take it back. I'm really sorry. I have no other way. You really shouldn't have come to find me. You already touched the bottom line of our Ice God Palace. You can leave, rest assured. If one day I can go back to Earth, I will build a tomb for you. Because I truly like you, people eventually change. I changed, Brother Yi, I'm sorry. Nie Shuang's voice stopped as the huge cracking sounds enveloped her voice. Yemo found this place was completely sealed by all sorts of restrictions. He couldn't break free at all. At the same time, an extremely terrifying frost smashed down. It was hundreds of times more terrifying than the ice forest. As soon as Yemo scanned his spirit sense out, it was freezed cracking, and there was this pain in his sea of consciousness. In that instant, Yemo knew that regardless if he could break this formation or not if he stayed here, he would die. Even an immortal emperor peak stage with a mortal god body tertiary stage wouldn't necessarily be able to resist this coldness. The Ice God Palace was too scary they could mobilize such terrifying cold. Even spirit sense wouldn't be able to move in this cold, much less body. Yi Mo went into the Golden Page world without hesitation. This was with him being immortal god body middle stage power. If his body refinement was a little lower, he wouldn't even have time to go into the Golden Page world. In the Golden Page world, Yi Mo wasn't angry at all. It was just as Nie Shuang said. She saved him once and now took it back. Yi Mo was someone who valued emotions. He came over just for Nie Shuang, but was ambushed by her. There was only disappointment coming from the bottom of his heart. People would eventually change. Perhaps Nie Shuang's words were true, but Yi Mo found that he had never changed from the start to the end. He didn't know why Nie Shuang did this. He checked her and knew she wasn't being controlled. Even if she wanted to stay in the Ice God Palace, she didn't have to kill him. Yi Mo carefully reached his spirit sense out, and as soon as it left the Golden Page world, it was turned to nothing by that terrifying cold. He could only feel that the Golden Page world was brought into the depth of the earth by this cold. A few days later, Yi Mo felt the Golden Page world had stopped before he scanned his spirit sense out. The cold was much better than before, but he still couldn't send his spirit sense out for long. Yi Mo knew that he didn't have to go out now, he only needed to wait. Even the formation builder wouldn't be able to see inside. Yi Mo believed that no one in the Ice God Palace now had the power to set up such formation. It was definitely left behind from ancient times or just used by the Ice God Palace people. He suspected he didn't even go into the Ice God Palace. Shadowless didn't dare to speak after knowing that Boss was ambushed, so he went to Small Ginseng to research the wine. After knowing now wasn't a good time to go out, Yi Mo took out the time formation disc and started spirit controlling those few bone arrows and the other short dagger. In a palace within the Ice God Palace, the Big Palace Lord, Third Palace Lord, and Nie Shuang sat together. Shuang, do you like that, Yi Mo? Third Palace Lord suddenly asked. Nie Shuang quickly bowed. Yes, when I was in the mortal realm, I liked him, but that was a long time ago. Third Palace Lord nodded. That Yi Mo is rather devoted in Yi Mo to find it all the way here. His cultivation level isn't high, but his immortal pet is good. After 49 years, and the formation opens, if his immortal pet is still there, you can take it. The Big Palace Lord added, Shuang, you will be reaching the highest divine emperor in the future. Our Ice God Palace will never stay in one corner. You saw your own past life. You know the path you need to take. Let go of what needs to be let go. It might be hard at first, but you will cherish your decision in the future. You did very well now. Shuang will remember the Two Palace Lord's teachings. Nie Shuang quickly said. The Big Palace Lord sighed. Shuang, you don't need to be so polite in front of us. Your origin isn't simple. Your future won't be simple either. As though seeing Nye Shuang's eyes seemed a bit dim, Big Palace Lord stopped and said softly, "Shuang, go rest first. I have some things to discuss with Third Palace Lord." After Nye Shuang left, Third Palace Lord said in confusion, "Martial's sister, Shuang said she forgot to ask Emo about the shadowless worm this." After Nye Shuang left, Third Palace Lord said in confusion, "Martial's sister, Shuang said she forgot to ask Emo about the shadowless worm this." Big Palace Lord sighed, "Shuang is having a hard time. Her Dao heart isn't firm. After all, Emo was someone she liked, and now she killed him personally. Although it would benefit her in the future, she can't let go yet. As for shadowless worm, she intentionally didn't ask. After all, she met with Emo due to it." "Martial's sister, what do you feel is the Emo's cultivation level?" The Big Palace Lord asked again. Third Palace Lord thought for a moment and said, "Martial's sister, the Emo's power is no lower than yours. He came from the Qing Wei Abyssal River. He definitely saw the secret of the Ice God Palace. We must be merciful to such a person. I've never seen someone who could cross the Qing Wei Abyssal River, but this person could. Plus, if what Shuang said is true, I really can't imagine how he reached a mortal emperor in such a short time. There definitely is a huge secret on him. I believe since he fought with Wei Feng Grand Emperor, he would be famous in the immortal realm. We only need to send someone out to investigate." "That works." The Big Palace Lord nodded. "No matter how big his secret is, when the Ice God formation opens, it will belong to us." Half a month later, Emo refined the third bone arrow to the 48th restriction. Then he breathed easier. The third arrow was harder than the previous two combined. When he spirit controlled it to the 48th level of restriction, Emo felt that the third arrow was much stronger than the first two arrows. If he spirit controlled all 108 levels of restriction, Emo suspected that 3 consecutive arrows might even take out a divine emperor. He carefully put the 3 arrows away and then spirit controlled that dagger. Afterward, he found out that the name of the dagger was Melt Space. Other than that, he really didn't find any use for it. Emo scanned his spirit sense out of the golden page world again. He found that coldness had become much weaker. Emo didn't hesitate anymore and left the golden page world. The bone-piercing cold instantly turned his clothes into nothing. Emo was shocked. Even his immortal god body, middle stage body, was shaking under this coldness. This coldness, once something flames could stop. Emo used his body refinement cultivation method and took out formation flags made with top-level materials. In order to leave this space, he had to find a way to break the formation door. This took time, so he needed to set up a place he could stay. The Golden Page world was safe, but he couldn't leave the formation. Emo's formation skills were beyond level 8 Immortal Formation Grandmaster. In half a day's time, Emo set up a frost barrier formation, and the nearby coldness immediately weakened. Then he put on a new set of clothes. Emo thought that with his formation skills and deriving capabilities, he would be able to leave here if he settled his mind. But when Emo derived this formation for half a month and had zero clue, he realized he was too optimistic. Emo even called out Small Ginseng. Small Ginseng only recognized it was a natural attack formation. One could only wait till the formation opened up naturally. Emo knew this too, but he didn't know when it would open, and he didn't want to wait here. A few months passed, and he still didn't open this formation. Emo became worried. He suddenly thought of the blue bead small world in the Golden Page world. If he had the slightest respect for Ice God Palace before, it was all gone now. He took out the small world and started to spirit control it. With his immortal monarch peak power, it didn't take much time. In just half a day, he completely spirit controlled this small world. The inside of the world clearly imprinted in Yi Mo's spirit sense. Yi Mo went into the small world without hesitation. The small world wasn't big, only 1,000 km radius. There was blue mountains and lush green waters. The immortal spirit chi here was also extremely dense. There was a row of exquisite houses in the most obvious place in the small world. Amongst the houses, there was a 1 km tall tree. It was the tree Yi Mo found in the ice god forbidden grounds. There was a black ice bed at the tree roots, and on the bed was Qingru. After all these years, Yi Mo was still shocked by Qingru's beauty upon seeing her. She was too beautiful. Zhen Bingyu and Luo Ying's beauty could make people feel close, but her beauty didn't seem real. Even after laying here for all these years, her body was still the best Yi Mo had seen. The only one who could match her was Zhen Bingyu, but that was after Zhen Bingyu cultivated body refinement. This woman probably naturally had this perfect body. Yi Mo put a heaven, heart, soul recovery pill in her mouth. Yi Mo was the only one who had the pill recipe. This was the top level 9 immortal pill he made with dark weed, level 9 immortal spirit herb hai tianlan, and een blue plum. If the essence spirit was still alive, the pill could save the person. Yi Mo was certain Qingru's soul hadn't disappeared. As long as she had a sliver of soul, he could save her and ask what this formation was. The pill immediately melted in Qingru's mouth. Yi Mo soon felt many immortal spirit qi insert into Qingru's body. Indeed, in less than half a day, Qingru opened her eyes. She seemed a little confused and looked around before sitting up. Soon, she realized this was her small world and breathed easy. But when she saw Yi Mo not far from her, she landed on the ground in shock. "Who are you? Why are you in my small world?" Qingru asked without hesitation. Yi Mo said plainly, "It's not important who I am. What's important is who are you?" Yi Mo was actually shocked when the woman woke up. Her cultivation level seemed a little too low. She was only abstruse immortal primary stage. How did she get to the cultivation realm? "I'm Qingru," Qingru said, and then frowned. She immediately said in shock, "I remember. You're the person I asked to take me away." "That's right. I took you away from that place." Yi Mo nodded. "Thank you." Qingru quickly bowed and didn't blame why Yi Mo was in her small world. She could feel her small world had been spirit controlled by Yi Mo. "May I ask, Marshal Brother, where is this place?" Qingru scanned her spirit sense out and could only feel coldness and a very sophisticated formation. "Ice God Palace," Yi Mo answered. Qingru's face showed a surprise and joyful expression, completely different to her sad look before. "You really took me to Ice God Palace? I want to see Ice God Palace, Lord," Qingru said, and then realized she was too desperate and said to Yi Mo, "Sorry, I'm too desperate." She didn't even ask how Yi Mo came to the immortal realm, nor Yi Mo's name. Yi Mo sneered. "I was planning to take you to see the big palace, Lord, and I indeed saw her. But before I can take you out, I was ambushed by your big palace, Lord, and third palace, Lord. I'm trapped by an extremely cold formation." "What?" Qingru called out in shock. "This is impossible, impossible." Yi Mo ignored her and took out her of the small world before pointing outside. "Impossible? Have a look at yourself." "Ice God formation," Qingru murmured to herself. "What is Ice God formation?" Yi Mo saw that Qingru actually knew this formation and quickly asked with hope. He used his level 9 immortal pill right. "What is Ice God formation?" Yi Mo saw that Qingru actually knew this formation and quickly asked with hope. He used his level 9 immortal pill right. Qingru said seriously, "It's the number formation of the Ice God Palace. Even if a divine emperor comes, he would be trapped by the Ice God formation." "What atrocity did you do in the Ice God Palace?" Otherwise, the big palace lord would definitely not use such means against you. Bullshit. Yi Mo yelled in fury. I brought you back to Ice God Palace in goodwill. The old farts of Ice God Palace didn't thank me and instead ambushed me. What atrocity! I didn't even touch a small grass of Ice God Palace. Then Yi Mo added in his heart, I didn't break the mountain. Hearing Yi Mo's words were coarse, Qing Ru frowned immediately. She remembered she was heavily injured. How could she suddenly wake up? Thinking about this, she immediately asked, You saved me. Yi Mo sneered. What do you think? I used all my fortune to get a level 9 immortal pill, and I used it to save you. Yet your Ice God Palace tries to kill me. Yi Mo felt he was becoming more and more like Shadowless. If it was Shadowless, he would probably say that from beginning to now, he had used all his time to gather immortal crystals to buy this pill. Qing Ru seemed to be someone easy to talk to. If he could get on her side, she might be able to tell him a way out. Wait, it's not right. Qing Ru didn't become all grateful to Yi Mo due to his words. She just woke up and there were a lot of things she didn't think. Now her brain was slowly away and she remembered how could Yi Mo be fine after the Ice God Palace activated the Ice God formation? Even her small world was fine. This didn't make sense. Even a small world can't resist the force of the formation. She knows how long she had been asleep. Even if Yi Mo ascended when she fell asleep, there was no way he could cultivate to a stage to survive the Ice God formation. How did you block the Ice God formation? Qing Ru asked. Yi Mo sneered. That's my business. It has nothing to do with you. Your Ice God Palace owes me, not the other way around. Yi Mo felt this Qing Ru wasn't simple to be able to recognize the formation, but he desperately wanted to go out. So he didn't bother asking why she went to the cultivation realm and ended up in that situation. Regardless of who is right, the big palace lord won't casually use the formation against you. She's about to reach Dao Vindication Divine Emperor. How can she do that? Plus, the big palace lord is very nice. She would never treat someone who helped the Ice God Palace like that. Qing Ru shook her head. Yi Mo said in contempt, Dao Vindication Divine Emperor? Keep dreaming. How can someone like her reach Dao Vindication? Qing Ru frowned and said, I can't see your cultivation level. You're probably much stronger than me. Otherwise, the Ice God Palace wouldn't use the Ice God formation against you. When I left the immortal realm to the cultivation realm, the big palace lord was already immortal emperor peak stage. There's no way that she hadn't improved after all these years. Yi Mo was confused. Was there something wrong with that big palace lord? He waved out an image. This is the big and third palace lord who attacked me. How this? Qing Ru stared at the image in a daze. How could this be? This isn't your Ice God Palace people. Yi Mo asked. Qing Ru fell silent for a long while before saying, The big palace lord you said is the original second palace lord, not the big palace lord I mentioned. The third palace lord is a martial uncle of mine, I think. You think the original big palace lord is gone? How long had you left the Ice God Palace? Perhaps it's the second palace lord who harmed your big palace lord with others. Yi Mo said. Qing Ru shook her head. No, martial uncle Ru Shu is big palace lord's disciple. Su Lien Palace lord respects big palace lord greatly. I believe something must have happened in the Ice God Palace all these years I wasn't here. Yi Mo frowned. You go deal with whatever happened in your Ice God Palace. I want to leave here. Do you have a way out? I brought you to the Ice God Palace and used my most precious pill to save you. I don't care about what the Ice God Palace did to me, nor do I want any relations with them. If possible, I just want to leave. Yi Mo didn't want to stay here. He didn't like this place. Although Nia Shuang saved him once, and he wouldn't kill her, he didn't want to have anything to do with her. Qing Ru bowed to Yi Mo again. Sorry, no matter who you are, you saved me. I have a way out. I haven't asked for your name yet. Yi Mo waved his hand. Qing Ru didn't keep asking Yi Mo's name. She resisted the urge to ask how Yi Mo survived in the formation and how he cultivated so quickly. She didn't know why the Ice God Palace used such formation against Yi Mo, but she could feel Yi Mo wasn't the evil man she thought. Qing Ru didn't lie. With her explanation, Yi Mo immediately realized why he couldn't go out. The formation was no ordinary formation. It was a top natural ice god trap formation. It could be activated by cultivators. If outsiders didn't understand the theory behind the formation, then the formation flags they made would be useless. Only 2 people could release the formation according to Qing Ru, the original Big Palace Lord and her. The reason they could release it wasn't because their formation skills were high, but because they had a formation flag to leave this natural formation. The formation was a natural formation, and the 2 natural formation flags were called yin-yang formation flags. It was born with the formation. Either flag could be used to leave the formation, but if one wanted to come in from an activated formation, they needed both flags. Now that Qing Ru had the yin flag, she could take Yi Mo out of the formation. This was countless times easier than Yi Mo had imagined. From this, Yi Mo could see that when Qing Ru left the Ice God Palace, she had very high status here. Coming back to the snowy landscape, Yi Mo sighed. A few months ago, he was worried about Nye Shuangshuang, but now he just wanted to leave this place. He had never thought of annihilating the Ice God Palace. He could tell Nye Shuangshuang's status wasn't low here. If Nye Shuangshuang didn't kill him, then she would never activate this formation. Or it was that she couldn't stop the 2 palace lords from wanting to detonate this formation. Nye Shuangshuang could have hinted him, but she didn't even do that. This completely disappointed Yi Mo. The exit to Ice God Palace is very hidden. I'll take you out, otherwise you would never be able to find the exit. Qing Ru saw Yi Mo was a bit sad and said. Yi Mo laughed dejectedly. No need. Thanks for bringing me out. I saved you, and you saved me. We don't owe each other. Go back to your Ice God Palace. Don't worry about me getting revenge. I never thought about it. Qing Ru smiled sweetly. Thank you. I don't know your name, but I believe you. I won't go back to the Ice God Palace now. I need to find my master. She isn't in the Ice God Palace. Since you can talk about revenge on the Ice God Palace, I believe your cultivation level must be very high. If you don't want to leave with me, can you lend me a flying magic artifact? No problem. Yi Mo had plenty of extreme grade flying immortal artifacts. He subconsciously took out a ring and stared at the storage ring for a long time before suddenly taking out an exquisite flying ship to Qing Ru. You can have this. Goodbye. Then Yi Mo disappeared. Huh. Qing Ru dazed at the flying magic artifact Yi Mo gave her. It was such an exquisite flying ship, and Yi Mo just gave it to her. This ship was also an extreme grade immortal artifact. There was such a generous person in this world. Thinking about how Yi Mo gave her a level 9 immortal pill, she believed Yi Mo was such a generous person. She immediately found a hidden place to spirit control this immortal ship. A few days later, she spirit controlled the ship and saw there was a small row of words, Shuangshuang's immortal ship. Shuangshuang's flying ship? Who was Shuangshuang? She didn't know that the entire storage ring was prepared for Nye Shuangshuang. Now that Yi Mo was so disappointed, he gave away this specially made flying ship to Qing Ru. Leaving this flying ship was too sad. He might as well give it away. Shuangshuang's flying ship? Who was Shuangshuang? She didn't know that the entire storage ring was prepared for Nye Shuangshuang. Now that Yi Mo was so disappointed, he gave away this specially made flying ship to Qing Ru. Leaving this flying ship was too sad. He might as well give it away. Of course, Yi Mo knew how to leave Ice God Palace. He came by the Qingwei Abyssal River, and now he would leave that way too. When Yi Mo came back to that icy mountain range, he saw Nye Shuangshuang again. She stood before a white, icy grave and seemed to be murmuring. Yi Mo immediately flew over. With his current cultivation level, even if he stood before her, she wouldn't be able to notice him. There was a stone tablet on the grave with the words, Yi Mo's grave. Brother, Yi, I really hoped you didn't come here. If you didn't, no one would know you existed and we would forget each other. I would definitely not go find you. Maybe this is just what I wanted, but you came to the Ice God Palace. I don't know who brought you here, but when I do I will kill her and get revenge for you. Today is your anniversary. I came to bring you a cup of wine. I won't be coming back again. Perhaps this is good. My mortal Tao is severed. There's nothing left to reminisce. Goodbye. Then Shuang poured that cup of wine on the tomb before turning to leave. Moments later, she disappeared from Yi Mo's sight. Yi Mo suddenly had this sadness in his heart. There was some misunderstanding when he first met, but later, he knew that her nature was good. But what she did now completely confused him. Clearly she tried to kill him, but she wanted to kill someone else to get revenge for him. Such people could always find an excuse for themselves. If it was some other woman who wanted his life like that, Yi Mo would have killed her without hesitation, but for Shuang, he didn't have any intentions to kill her. She could be ruthless, but he couldn't do the same as her. Just as she said, just forget each other, Yi Mo walked up to that tombstone and left 3 lines of words. Before, I wanted to live with you, but that was an extravagant wish. Later, I want to forget you, but it is still an extravagant wish. Now, we're separated by yin and yang. Yi Mo kicked, and the ice tomb was kicked to oblivion. He then threw out Shadowless and said, Shadowless, speed up and row the boat on the Abyssal River. We're going back. 7 days later, Yi Mo crossed the Abyssal River and came to the riverbank. Yi Mo spent these 7 days in cultivation. He needed power. If he didn't reach a mortal emperor, he would be lacking on foundation even if he had power rivaling a mortal emperor. The riverbank was still the same. Yi Mo had crossed the river twice and been to the Lightning Kill Palace. His spirit sense wasn't just 1 km like before, it was a few kilometers. Some body refinement immortals were still cultivating their bodies on the riverbanks while finding wine killstone. The Dunyan Hotel was still there. When I put away Shadowless and went into the hotel, there were still a few people sitting there drinking wine. However, Yi Mo didn't see Chu Qin, Divine Emperor, nor that old woman. Yi Mo was only a mortal king middle stage, and when he walked in no one even looked at him. However, Dunyang was startled off her seat and quickly walked out and bowed. Dunyang, greet, immortal friendy. The immortal kings and immortal monarchs drinking were dazed. They had been here for countless years, but had never seen Dunyang leave the counter to greet someone. There were a few immortal emperors here, but even if they came, she only politely saluted with her fists. Who was this youth to allow her to come out and greet? Yi Mo didn't mind. She was close to Chu Qin, Divine Emperor. It would be strange if she wasn't scared of him. Get me 1 kettle or white wine and 2 bottles of black wine. Yi Mo nodded and said. He told small ginseng to produce wine, but it had only been this long and small ginseng hadn't produced the wines yet. By the looks of it, small ginseng seemed very interested in Chu Qin, Divine Emperor's other wine recipes. Who knows how long it would be before he could drink the wine made by small ginseng. Yi Mo knew that there were much black wine, so he only asked for 2 bottles. Everyone dazed and looked at Yi Mo in shock. They've been here for so long and seen people buy white wine, but that was in bottles. They've never seen people buy black wine. Now, an immortal king asked for a kettle of white wine and 2 bottles of black wine. However, what shocked them more was that Dunyang took it out without hesitation and didn't even ask Yi Mo for the wine killstones first. Yi Mo was used to eating first and then paying, so he took the white wine and drank. An extremely fierce killing intent filled his entire body. This killing intent was more than 10 times stronger than the blue wine. Before he even refined the killing intent and killing chi in the wine, a terrifying killing intent emitted from his body. The nearby immortal monarchs quickly used their cultivation method to block this. Good wine, Yi Mo praised, and his contemptuous opinions of Chu Qin, divine emperor, were gone. To be able to make such wine, one's wine-making skills had to reach a new peak, as well as his understanding of killing intent and lethal force. Only then would you be able to turn the killing intent in the wine kill stone into wine intent and allow the drinker to digest it. Small Ginseng didn't understand killing intent much. He probably couldn't make such wine. Seeing Yi Mo drink a big gulp of the white wine, people were already very shocked, but then Yi Mo tipped the entire kettle of white wine down. In that instant, there was only the sound of Yi Mo drinking the wine. The dejected feeling of being ambushed by Nie Shuang was completely melted in this wine. In that instance, Yi Mo only felt the satisfaction of the killing intent in this wine. That killing qi soon swept Yi Mo's entire body. Yi Mo didn't even need to use 3 birth chant to refine it, and instead used his body refinement cultivation method to feel the lethal force and killing intent of the wine. The killing intent and wine intent spread. How could the immortal kings and immortal monarchs not realize Yi Mo's power? They all moved back, fearing this sharp killing qi would hurt them. This is satisfying. A lot of the dejection in his eyes dissipated, and he finished the white wine. He put the wine kettle on the bar and took out the black wine and gulped. An extremely fierce, lethal force swept his entire meridian. Even his sea of consciousness was ravaged by killing qi. This killing intent in the black wine was 10 times stronger than the white wine. Yi Mo had never felt drunk ever since cultivation, but today he was feeling a bit tipsy. This time he didn't finish the black wine in one go, but instead took out 100 white kill stones and 20 black wine kill stones and placed it on the counter, and then took the other bottle of black wine before saying in a tipsy tone, "Dunyang, thank you for your wine. It's great. When Little Mud comes back, tell him that Yi Mo welcomes him to come too." Yi Mo walked out of the Dunyang Hotel. Everyone saw Yi Mo take out the wine kill stones and realized that he wasn't going to drink free wine. He took out 100 white stones and 20 black stones in one go. Even immortal emperors might not be able to take out that many in one go. Dunyang looked at Yi Mo dazedly, but Yi Mo already walked out of the hotel. Outside a song came. The day before is gone. Happiness, if more important than anything. The spilled water can't be taken back. Yi Mo didn't know what song this was, but he remembered in the Beijing bar he was at with Nie Shuang, the bar played this song. Using the murderous qi in the wine, Yi Mo sang this song and melted the sadness in his heart. The song is bad, but the wine is good. A sudden voice woke Yi Mo up a bit. Wrong, the song is good, and the wine is too. Another voice sounded. Yi Mo's tipsiness eased. The two came up to him, and he didn't even realize. As he woke up from the wine, he felt his immortal essence release, and his cultivation level finally reached immortal monarch peak stage. After Yi Mo's initial joy, he looked at these two people seriously. He was shocked that both of them were immortal emperor peak stage, and he didn't know a single one of them. After Yi Mo's initial joy, he looked at these two people seriously. He was shocked that both of them were immortal emperor peak stage, and he didn't know a single one of them. The one who said his song was good was a monk who bared his chest. There were massive beads hanging off his neck. Yi Mo scanned with his spirit sense. There seemed to be countless beads, but then later there only seemed to be a few. Yi Mo couldn't tell if the other person was a man or woman. Who dares to rebuke my words? So it's you again, old man wooing. Why didn't you stay at the Wujia Sound River? Huh? The monk stared at Yi Mo's wine bottle and said, Your wine seems good, can I have a try? Du Feng monk, where I go is none of your business. If you mind your own business, I can give you a bottle after I kill this kid. Ween Immortal Emperor said. Yi Mo's eyes went cold. He didn't expect it was Ween Immortal Emperor. No wonder he was Immortal Emperor peak stage. He had come back from the void. then Feng Kong Grand Emperor was probably back. It seemed he really needed to break through to Immortal Emperor and kill this Wuyin before going after Feng Kong Grand Emperor. Yi Mo knew that Wuyin came just for him and worried about Bai Wei and them. Meanwhile, the monk stared at Wuyin Immortal Emperor. Old man Wuyin, do you enjoy abusing people weaker than you? In the Ice-Carrot Immortal City, you wanted to abuse a few little girls, and I stopped you. Now you want to abuse an immortal king. Thank you, Qian Bei, for helping at Ice-Carrot Immortal City. Yi Mo immediately walked up to that monk and bowed. Yi Mo knew that this monk stopped Wuyin Immortal Emperor from attacking Bai Wei and them. I didn't even say it is, and you know those few girls. It seems there's, quote, the conflict between you guys. You don't need to thank me. Just let me have a sip of the wine. It's Dunyang black wine, right? I've always wanted to drink, but I can't afford it. After I drink, I'll help you fight. The monk stared at Yi Mo's wine and gulped. Wuyin Immortal Emperor sneered. Du Luo monk, I can give you face for other things, but I must kill this person. He ruined my sect, took my immortal range, and robbed my sect members. How can I not kill him? Hearing this, Du Luo monk frowned. If what Wuyin said was real, he really couldn't intervene. If he did, his Nanming Heaven Zen Temple would be death enemies with Wujia Sound River. You're quite bold to do such a thing. I guess you're not an immortal king. What is your cultivation? The old monk smiled at Yi Mo bitterly. He suspected he wouldn't be able to drink his wine today. Yi Mo took away his stealth cultivation method and showed his immortal monarch peak stage power. Thank you, Du Feng Qian Bei, but I don't need you to intervene. Old bastard Wuyin captured my wife. I'm long wanted to kill this half-woman, half-man. Then Yi Mo threw his other bottle of black wine to Du Feng monk. I have another bottle here, you can have it. Du Feng subconsciously took the black wine and asked in shock. You're a mere immortal monarch power, and you want to kill immortal emperor, peak stage Wuyin. Immortal monarch power? Yi Mo laughed. Soon I won't be immortal monarch power. I need to have my divine damnation and break through to immortal emperor. Please help protect me, Du Feng monk and Wuyin old man. Then Yi Mo glanced at Wuyin Immortal Emperor in contempt. What? You're going to break through to Immortal Emperor now? Here? Du Feng repeated in shock. Was this immortal monarch crazy? This was close to Qingwei Abyssal River. There were murderous qi everywhere. Breaking through to Immortal Emperor here was the most stupidest thing. Wuyin Immortal Emperor, who was about to attack, suddenly stopped. He had heard that although Yi Mo was an immortal monarch, but could take on Wei Feng Grand Emperor. Although he didn't fear Wei Feng Grand Emperor, he couldn't beat him for sure. Now that Yi Mo wanted to have divine damnation for Immortal Emperor, this was the perfect opportunity. He guessed that Yi Mo wanted to break through to Immortal Emperor and then fight him. But if Yi Mo thought he had the opportunity to reach Immortal Emperor, he would be dreaming. If Immortal Emperor was this easy to break through to, then this entire world would be filled with immortal emperors. He was 70% certain that Yi Mo couldn't draw the divine damnation. If Yi Mo failed to reach Immortal Emperor, his cultivation level would drop 2 levels. Then he would be able to easily kill him. Even if Yi Mo brought the Immortal Emperor divine damnation. So what? As soon as Yi Mo's divine damnation comes, he would attack. As for Immortal Emperor divine damnation, it was a joke to an Immortal Emperor tertiary stage peak. If Yi Mo thought he wouldn't dare to attack during his divine damnation, then Yi Mo would be a fool. Yi Mo knew what Wuyin Immortal Emperor thought. If Wuyin Immortal Emperor thought his divine damnation would be an ordinary Immortal Emperor divine damnation, then he would have quite some trouble. Yi Mo was certain that even an Immortal Emperor peak stage wouldn't be able to safely survive his Immortal Emperor divine damnation. Yi Mo threw out a few extreme great immortal ranges, and then casually set up a spirit gathering immortal formation. Then he drank all of his black bottle. Du Feng monk stared at Yi Mo's empty black bottle in shock. He was more shocked about Yi Mo finishing that in one go than Yi Mo throwing out a few extreme great immortal ranges. Although he hadn't had Dunyang black wine before, he had long heard of it. Even the most powerful body, refinement immortal, or someone who has deep knowledge of killing intent can only drink one mouthful at a time. Seeing Yi Mo throw his bottle out, Dufeng Monk stared at his black bottle and then raised it, drinking a big mouthful. The terrifying killing intent and killing qi instantly filled his sea of consciousness and meridians. The uncontrollable feeling of being torn apart shocked Dufeng Monk. He even suspected Yi Mo didn't drink the real black wine and gave him the real one. He didn't have time to ask Yi Mo. If he didn't use this time to calm it down, the killing intent would tear open his sea of consciousness. Yi Mo didn't have it easy either. One bottle of black wine was terrifying. Wen stared at Yi Mo. Dufeng was in trouble himself. When Yi Mo failed divine damnation, he could easily kill Yi Mo. As the three-birth chant ran, the immortal spirit qi of the extreme great immortal range was swept away by Yi Mo. Wen Immortal Emperor was shocked at which the speed and power Yi Mo devoured immortal spirit qi. He made up his mind to kill Yi Mo this time. Yi Mo must not be allowed to reach Immortal Emperor. If Yi Mo reached Immortal Emperor, he wouldn't even be able to retaliate. A day later, Du Luo Monk's spirit controlled the black wine and felt its benefits. He forgot that Yi Mo was still having a divine damnation and drank another mouthful. This was a wine he truly liked. The sky went dark and a rumbling sound exploded in the sky. Wen Immortal Emperor was a bit dazed. He didn't expect Yi Mo to really bring the divine damnation, but he cast this aside and secretly released his magic artifact. As soon as the divine damnation came, he would attack. Yi Mo's mind was completely focused on the divine damnation. Like Dufeng Monk, he had already forgotten about Wen Immortal Emperor. He ate a Tai Wei Emperor return pill. The powerful pill energy mixed with the black wine energy, as well as the immortal spirit qi, and charged at that immortal emperor barrier. Rumble. The immortal emperor immediately shook under that charge. Rumble. The immortal emperor immediately shook under that charge. Yi Mo rejoiced. He thought he would need to charge many times or even tens of times, but on the first charge, he reached the immortal emperor barrier. He immediately realized what was going on. According to his cultivation progress, he could long reach immortal emperor. It meant that his foundation as an immortal monarch was enough. The reason he wasn't able to reach immortal emperor was because he couldn't reach immortal monarch peak stage. Crack! As soon as Yi Mo touched the immortal emperor barrier, the divine damnation fell. Yi Mo threw another Tai Wei Emperor return pill in his mouth without hesitation. He lacked immortal pills the least. These pills were very precious to other sects, but he had plenty. The lightning flashed, and Wen Immortal Emperor immediately released his immortal subjugation tree root. He was going to attack when Yi Mo was struck by the first wave of divine damnation. 9 bluish-black bolts of lightning fell. Wen Immortal Emperor was dazed. He didn't expect Yi Mo's divine damnation was bucket-sized thick, but he was more assured. After these 9 bolts, Yi Mo would be heavily injured if not dead. Even if he was caught in the divine damnation, he would at most receive light injuries. Wen Immortal Emperor's calculations were very precise. He followed the 9 bolts of lightning closely and attacked Yi Mo. He was certain that even if he was caught in it, it would be very little. Plus, he released his top-level defense magic artifact, Golden Dragon, painting to protect him. Crackle, crackle. Lightning rained down non-stop. Wen Immortal Emperor was lost for words. Just what divine damnation was Yi Mo, this bastard, having? The 9 bolts was only a part of the first wave. After this 9 bolts, 10s more equally sized lightning came. These bolts were less than a second slower than the first 9 bolts. Wen Immortal Emperor counted, and there were actually 81 bolts. Wen Immortal Emperor's face went pale, even though he was Immortal Emperor peak stage. He couldn't stop such terrifying divine damnation arc. He had released his magic artifact now, and even clashed with the latter lightning bolts. This meant that he had been caught into the divine damnation. It was impossible to leave now. At this moment, how could Wuyin Immortal Emperor not know what Emo planned? He was furious, but he could only block this divine damnation. He swore he had never seen such terrifying divine damnation in his life. His Immortal Emperor divine damnation was a small stream compared to the ocean that Yemo's divine damnation was. No wonder Yemo could easily kill Immortal Emperor as an immortal monarch. This person was so absurdly powerful that even the heavens didn't want him to live. If he knew it was such terrifying divine damnation, Wuyin Immortal Emperor would rather run far away. He didn't believe that anyone could survive such divine damnation, not even Yemo. No Immortal Emperor can survive this divine damnation. Maybe not even Truth Divine Emperor. Seeing Wuyin Immortal Emperor get caught in the divine damnation, Yemo sneered. Served this old bastard right. Other people were scared of this divine damnation, but he wasn't at all. He had long predicted that his Immortal Emperor divine damnation would be crazy. This was just the start. He just needed to speed up reaching Immortal Emperor at the start. Once he reached Immortal Emperor, his power would be tens of times stronger. This divine damnation would just be child's play. If Wuyin Immortal Emperor didn't join, he might use Zisu to block a little, but now that Wuyin Immortal Emperor joined, he couldn't even be bothered doing this. He just used the three-birth chant and body refinement cultivation method, like crazy devouring the lightning source, like crazy while refining his body. At the same time, he gathered all his immortal essence to charge at that Immortal Emperor barrier. Rumble. Tens of water bucket thick lightning arcs kept smashing on Yemo's body. Blood and flesh rubbed against each other. His bones were cracking with the strikes, but Yemo wasn't scared at all. Tai Wei Emperor returned pale, had plenty of power, and with how crazy Yemo was devouring immortal spirit chi and lightning source, the combined power was crazy. But even so, this wave of energy could only shake the Immortal Emperor barrier. There wasn't even a crack. Yemo knew clearly that although he touched the Immortal Emperor barrier easily, it wasn't easy to break it. He ignored Wuyin Immortal Emperor and just focused charging at the Immortal Emperor barrier. Wuyin Immortal Emperor couldn't even protect himself, now much less attack Yemo. He couldn't devour those lightning and didn't have immortal god body refinement. The lightning struck him head-on. Crack. The golden dragon painting only blocked more than 10 thicking lightning arcs and started cracking. Wuyin Immortal Emperor also took back the tree root he attacked Yemo with. He couldn't even save his own life now. How could he attack Yemo? The tree root turned into countless tree roots and extended out. They joined up together to stop the lightning bolts. Bolts of lightning were torn to pieces by Wuyin Immortal Emperor's tree root and clashed with the lightning arcs Yemo smashed away. Wuyin Immortal Emperor's heart was bleeding. The first wave of divine damnation hasn't ended yet, but he was already heavily injured. His golden dragon painting was cracking too. This was his best defense magic artifact. He cherished it like his life. Wuyin Immortal Emperor had made up his mind that after this divine damnation, he would immediately leave the range of the divine damnation. He would definitely not get caught up in Yemo's second wave of divine damnation again. If there was a second wave, he wouldn't need to kill Yemo. He would be killed himself first. After refining the second mouthful of wine, Du Feng monk stared at Yemo's divine damnation dazedly for long while before murmuring, "This is divine damnation? So that's it, I understand." Looking at Wuyin Immortal Emperor, who might be devoured at any time, Du Feng finally realized why Yemo said he was going to have divine damnation. Even divine emperors would have to watch on the side for this divine damnation. Just who was this youth? He didn't know if immortal emperors had divine damnation to vindicate Tao, but he knew it wouldn't be something as terrifying as this. The 81 bolts were finally used up, but Wuyin, Immortal Emperor, was like a death chamber prisoner now. He was covered in wounds, and his clothes were long gone. His body was covered in blood and blackness. The first wave of divine damnation finally ended. Wuyin, Immortal Emperor, didn't want to care about Yemo anymore. He didn't even want to see Yemo again. He just wanted to go as far as possible. It was less than half a second after the first wave ended that the second wave came. He couldn't escape at all. After being locked on by this divine damnation, he couldn't even breathe. Looking at another 81 bolts fall down, Wuyin, Immortal Emperor, moaned helplessly. What did he do? He found such a maniac of an opponent. If he had another chance, he would rather call Yemo Grandpa than have divine damnation with him. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Another 81 bolts fell. Yemo knew it was the same number of bolts as before, but Yemo knew this wave had more power. When the second wave fell, Yemo didn't want to passively defend anymore. He flew up and raised his two hands. He smashed out lightning spears. 5 lightning spear destruction. He could smash more than just 5 now. He could smash out 50 or even 500. But the more he used, the weaker they were. As the lightning spears smashed out, those thick lightning bolts were smashed apart into lightning light. Those lightning light not only refined Yemo's 5 lightning spear destruction god art, but also landed on Yemo's body. Yemo devoured this, and together with immortal spirit chi, he devoured. It smashed towards that immortal emperor barrier again. The second wave of 81 bolts passed. Yemo's immortal essence had stacked up to a terrifying amount, but his immortal emperor barrier would only shake and not open. The second wave of 81 bolts passed. Yemo's immortal essence had stacked up to a terrifying amount, but his immortal emperor barrier would only shake and not open. Yemo began to worry. In his past divine damnations, it never took him more than 2 waves of divine damnation to reach the next cultivation level. This time, 2 waves of divine damnation passed, and his immortal emperor was still there. This was something never seen before. Luckily, his immortal monarch foundation was big and his body refinement was high. Otherwise, he wouldn't even be able to resist these huge lightning bolts. Yemo didn't have the mood to worry about Wuyin, Immortal Emperor, anymore. The third wave had come, and it was 81 bolts again, but even more fierce. The thick lightning bolts were smashed away by Yemo rings of black lightning, splashed apart, illuminating this murderous place. All the body refinement cultivators of the river were drawn over. For the first time, Dunyang left her wine. Everyone came to Yemo's place to watch this shocking divine damnation. The endless thick lightning bolts and the black lightning shivered every immortal's heart. They were all thinking, how could there be such terrifying divine damnation in this world? Dunyang was murmuring something. No one heard what she said. She had experienced divine damnation before, but her divine damnation was nothing compared to Yemo's divine damnation. It was less than 5% of Yemo's divine damnation. Now, she realized why Yemo wasn't even an immortal emperor, but could suppress immortal emperor. Now that he reached immortal emperor, no one in this immortal realm would be able to stop him, other than a few divine emperors, who would be a match for Yemo. As for Wuyin, Immortal Emperor, who was struggling to survive between the bolts, he was long ignored. Everyone watched to see when Yemo could reach Immortal Emperor. Even those who didn't know Yemo wanted him to survive this divine damnation and reach Immortal Emperor. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The fourth wave of 81 bolts fell, and the heaven-covering thick lightning bolts completely covered this space. Yemo had to face this divine damnation carefully, or he would be disintegrated. The tattered Wuyin Immortal Emperor looked dazedly at Du Feng as though pleading for help. He really wanted to ask Du Feng monk to help. He really couldn't keep up with Yemo's divine damnation. The first 3 waves completely crippled his golden dragon painting. If his tree root wasn't so powerful and he was Immortal Emperor peak stage power, he would have died in the 3rd wave. Everyone's attention was on Yemo. Even if Du Feng monk saw him, He wouldn't dare to charge into Yi Mo's divine damnation to save someone. Crack! No matter how powerful the immortal subjugation tree root was, it couldn't resist this terrifying divine damnation. Cracks appeared. Plus, Wuyin Immortal Emperor could only passively defend against the divine damnation, while Yi Mo devoured the divine damnation to increase his power. Before the fourth wave finished, Wuyin Immortal Emperor was completely smashed by a thick lightning bolt on his body. Wuyin Immortal Emperor couldn't hold on anymore. He couldn't even control his tree root anymore. Lightning bolts kept falling. Rumble, rumble, rumble. For thick bolts hit him again. Even though he took out all the defense magic artifacts in his storage ring, it was useless. There was a hideous scream. Wuyin Immortal Emperor's body was broken, and as soon as his essence spirit came out, it was disintegrated by the falling divine damnation. At the same time, Yi Mo felt his body refinement about to break through. His cultivation level didn't break through, but his body refinement reached immortal god body tertiary stage. The powerful body made Yi Mo breath easy. Once Wuyin Immortal Emperor was killed, almost all the lightning arcs focused on him. Yi Mo was even feeling grateful to that Wuyin Immortal Emperor now. If he didn't share a part of the divine damnation, he would be more heavily injured. When Yi Mo reached immortal god body tertiary stage, the fifth wave fell without hesitation. If the ninth wave fell and Yi Mo didn't break through, he would be the only person to have a divine damnation and not break through. The nearby immortals saw with their own eyes Wuyin Immortal Emperor getting killed by the divine damnation. They were very shocked. Not many people knew Yi Mo, but there weren't many who didn't know Wuyin Immortal Emperor. Wuyin Immortal Emperor was on the level of Wei Feng Grand Emperor, and yet he couldn't survive. This made Du Feng realize that if he went, he would be killed too. This was why Yi Mo could drink a whole bottle of the wine, but he could only drink 2 mouthfuls. Yi Mo devoured all the lightning source and charged at the Immortal Emperor barrier. However, the fifth wave was about to be over, but his Immortal Emperor barrier was still just shaking. Yi Mo became more worried. Ever since he reached immortal god body middle stage, the divine damnation couldn't kill him, but if he couldn't reach immortal emperor, all was useless. If he didn't reach immortal emperor, he wouldn't be able to talk to Feng Kong Grand Emperor. Seeing that the sixth wave was about to fall, Yi Mo saw Dunyang appear. He immediately called, "Dunyang, lend me a kettle of black wine." Dunyang was very shocked at Yi Mo's divine damnation, and hearing his call, she charged at Yi Mo with a kettle of black wine without hesitation. "Dunyang, do you not want to live?" An immortal emperor, as the Dunyang Hotel called. Dunyang hesitated, but still didn't stop, and said at the same time, "I like his song." Dunyang charged into Yi Mo's divine damnation and gave the black kettle to Yi Mo. She only had one last kettle of this black wine. If it was destroyed by the divine damnation, she wouldn't be able to give Yi Mo another one. Rumble. The sixth wave of 81 bolts fell. The bolts were thicker than buckets. Dunyang knew that she was locked on by the divine damnation now and couldn't escape. Her pale face became even more pale. Yi Mo took the wine kettle and smiled. "Thank you, Dunyang. You and Little Mud are my friends. Go out first. I will visit your business frequently." Dunyang just wanted to say she was locked on by the divine damnation when she felt her body relax. Yi Mo flew up and smashed out hundreds of 5 lightning spear destruction. He also smashed out Zisu. Dunyang immediately knew that she was different to Wuyin Immortal Emperor. The divine damnation that locked onto her was blocked by Yi Mo. She didn't need to worry at all. She knew now wasn't the time to talk. She saluted with her fists to Yi Mo and quickly left. Everyone saw Dunyang leave safely and saw Yi Mo fly up to fight the divine damnation and was even more shocked. Yi Mo was pretty much battling the divine damnation, and from the looks of it, Yi Mo had the upper hand. Wuyin Immortal Emperor was killed by the divine damnation, probably because Yi Mo didn't want to save him. Dunyang, what is it like inside? Some people who knew Dunyang asked. Dunyang breathed easy. If a mortal friend, you didn't help, I would be ashes right now. I can't even block one wave of the divine damnation. Rumble. Yi Mo's lightning spears smashed with the 81 bolts again. Zisu purple shadows ravaged the sky, and endless lightning was smashed away. At this moment, lightning light completely covered the murderous Qi here. When the sixth wave was about to end, Yi Mo raised the black kettle and drank all of the contents. Even those who haven't had the Dunyang black wine could imagine how terrifying it was. As for those few who drank it, they were even more shocked. Yi Mo just drank the entire kettle like that. Even divine emperors wouldn't be able to handle it. Even those who haven't had the Dunyang black wine could imagine how terrifying it was. As for those few who drank it, they were even more shocked. Yi Mo just drank the entire kettle like that. Even divine emperors wouldn't be able to handle it. The extremely violent killing intent ravaged Yi Mo's body as though about to tear him to pieces the next moment. Yi Mo's body that wasn't torn by the divine damnation was slowly showing blood gashes under this terrifying black Dunyang wine. Blood trickled down eerily. It was as though his body would be ripped apart by this terrifying killing intent the next moment. The uncontrollable killing intent and lightning spilled apart. Even those immortals standing far couldn't help retreating. The killing intent in this killing Qi was too scary. Rumble. Explosions roared in the sky, and bluish-black lightning fell, tearing the entire space. Everyone knew this was Yi Mo's seventh wave of divine damnation coming down. At this moment, Yi Mo's body was torn red by the killing Qi in the wine. His face became more and more pale. When the seventh wave of divine damnation came, Yi Mo took out another Tai Wei Emperor return pill and ate it. To Yi Mo, if he couldn't reach Immortal Emperor, who knows when he would be able to break through? He had to reach Immortal Emperor as quickly as possible. Only then would he have the power to stand firm in the immortal realm. Only then would MOU Immortal Sect be able to stand firm. Crackle. The terrifying lightning struck Yi Mo's body. Yi Mo used all the pills of the power along with the lightning source, as well as the black wine lethal force to charge at the Immortal Emperor barrier. The satisfying killing intent turned into invisible blades. These blades were mixed with the lightning source and smashed on the Immortal Emperor barrier again. Before this wave of charge finished, the killing intent came again. Crack! An extremely comfortable feeling welled throughout Yi Mo's body. At this moment, Yi Mo felt the entire world open up to him. It was as though the immortal realm was no longer the same immortal realm, and space wasn't the same space. Everything became meticulous, and Tao waves were extremely clear to him. Powerful immortal essence power and the boundless sea of consciousness filled Yi Mo's body. Yi Mo couldn't help but moan in comfort. It was as though he could easily pick up the nearby immortal spirit chi around him. He could use the power of the world at any time. When he tried to sense that immortal emperor barrier, it was long gone. Yi Mo's eyes finally lit up and let out a long howl. Everyone knew now that although Yi Mo's divine damnation hasn't finished yet, he was an immortal emperor. Yi Mo grabbed casually, and the nearby space seemed completely bound by his hand. So this is immortal emperor state. Yi Mo murmured to himself. If someone had his immortal emperor power, then no matter how powerful his immortal monarch peak stage he would be completely outmatched. Three-birth chant was indeed the chaos cultivation method of the world. This extreme power wasn't something ordinary immortal emperors could compare with. Yi Mo let out a long howl. He hadn't seen Feng Kong Grand Emperor before, but he knew Feng Kong Grand Emperor was stronger than Wei Feng Grand Emperor. However, Yi Mo no longer had fear in his heart. This was his confidence because he was different to other immortal emperors. The tens or even hundreds of times more resources he used compared to others didn't go to waste. Yi Mo just reached Immortal Emperor, and his Immortal Emperor force was seeping out. It made people step back again. Even Immortal Emperors took in a cold breath. Yi Mo's power wasn't something same-level Immortal Emperors could compare with at all. His Immortal Emperor force meant that he was tens of times stronger than before. Who could stop him in the immortal realm? Only the 4 Grand Emperor, or even Divine Emperor can. The 8th and 9th Divine Damnation came at the same time, but these were nothing to Yi Mo now. He didn't even use God Art and just grabbed with his hand. These lightning bolts were either devoured or turned to nothing. The rumbling seemed to have instantly disappeared from the sky, but people didn't see immortal spirit Qi, cloud falling. Yi Mo knew his divine damnation rarely had that, and now that he reached Immortal Emperor, he didn't care about it at all. When the divine damnation disappeared, he set up a stealth restriction and quickly cleansed himself and changed into new blue robes. When Yi Mo put away the restriction and put away the unfinished extreme grade immortal range, everyone woke up. Yi Mo's terrifying divine damnation was over. Regardless if the immortals knew Yi Mo, they all came to congratulate Yi Mo. Everyone who witnessed Yi Mo's divine damnation knew that someone who could have such divine damnation would have no opponents in the future. The immortal realm will be his. Seeing Yi Mo clean and easy, the people who came to congratulate him were more shocked. Other people would be covered in injuries after divine damnation and spend a lot of time to consolidate their power. But Yi Mo seemed like he didn't go through anything at all. His newly ascended Qi was very stable too. His powerful Immortal Emperor Qi only spilled the moment he reached Immortal Emperor and shocked people. After the divine damnation, they couldn't sense it at all. Yi Mo thanked them all. These people witnessed him reaching Immortal Emperor. This was some fate. Cultivating till now, this Immortal Emperor breakthrough was the hardest. Luckily, Dunyang helped him. Without that murderous intent in the line, it would be really hard to break his Immortal Emperor barrier. After everyone finished congratulating, Dunyang came up to congratulate. Immortal Friendy, congratulations. You've become an unparalleled Immortal Emperor. The heavens are yours to roam now. Dunyang exclaimed. Yi Mo quickly saluted with his fists. Thank you, Dunyang, for lending me a kettle of wine. Otherwise, I really wouldn't be able to break through to Immortal Emperor. Then Yi Mo took out 100 black wine killstones to Dunyang. He didn't think small ginseng would be able to produce such wine, so he might as well give it all to Dunyang. Dunyang quickly waved her hand. Brother Yi, the wine can be my congratulation gift. You don't need to give me wine killstone. Yi Mo smiled. Dunyang, I know that although I got the wine recipe from Little Mud Qianbei, I definitely wouldn't be able to produce such wine. You can have these wine killstones. I'll come to your place to drink again. Dunyang smiled. In that case, I won't be too polite. Seeing Dunyang take the wine killstones, Yi Mo took out 2 more jade boxes and gave it to her. Dunyang, this is my little gift. Please take it. Dunyang didn't need to open it to know what was inside. Yi Mo gave her this jade box before. It was the one containing the Emperor with blue fruit. This fruit was something even Chu Chen Divine Emperor needed desperately. She didn't expect Yi Mo to give 2 in one go. Clearly, Yi Mo meant to give her and Chu Chen Divine Emperor 1 each. This fruit was too precious. Even though she wanted it immediately, she didn't dare to take it. She quickly rejected. Brother Yi, this is too precious. I can't accept it. Yi Mo laughed. Dunyang, you and Little Mud Qianbei are people I respected. Without this wine, I can't reach Immortal Emperor. You don't know, but I know. Yi Mo truly understood why he couldn't reach Immortal Emperor. He cultivated under the bitter bamboo and had no bottleneck. He lacked this inexpressible learning. Cultivation was like living life. There isn't perfection. How could one see the rainbow without going through the storm? His cultivation level loosened when Sha Yu Immortal Emperor's flag drew out his heart demon. This time he was hurt by Nie Shuang Shuang, and drank the wine in the hotel. His mind state grew again. Okay, in that case I won't be too polite. My hotel welcomes Brother Yi at any time. Dunyang's best wine will forever be kept for you. Dunyang took the 2 jade boxes and said shakily, "This is the Dunyang I imagined." Yi Emo laughed, Dunyang. "I'm a level 9 immortal pill, Grandmaster, and the sect leader of MOU Immortal Sect. When Dunyang doesn't want to keep this shop, my MOU Immortal Sect welcomes you and Little Mud Qianbei at any time." You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.